Oops. I just realized I said all of that and my mic was off. But shout out to Ernest. Okay, shout out to Ernest for commenting on my makeup and saying that I look like a fool. If y'all are new here and not true to this, okay, if you're new to this, not true to this, then, y'all might not know that I like to play in makeup. It's fun for me. Um, on my regular day to day, I don't wear anything on my face. I'm an eye rubber. Okay, I rub my eyes like crazy. But, every now and again, I like to pop out and play with makeup. So for me, it's fun. You might think it looks foolish. Okay, it might look foolish to you. Looks. It might look foolish to you, but it's fun for me. So, haters gonna hate and they can keep hating in my comment section. I love to see it. Hi, Justin. As if you're like not right over there. Hey, boo. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and just hop right on into the video. We're gonna react to Kamala Harris and her Club Shay Shay interview conversation. Uh, I remember Shannon Sharp. He tweeted out that this was gonna be just like Joe Rogan. It's gonna be just like Joe Rogan, but with me and Kamala Harris. We'll see. And I watched the entire Joe Rogan podcast, all of it. I watched the entire thing, 3 hours, long as hell. And I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really watch a whole lot of Joe Rogan. I only watch him when he has people on that I'm like actually interested in, which isn't always that often. So, this was maybe like I can count on one hand how many times I've watched the Joe Rogan podcast. But it was a really good interview. You learned a lot. You actually learned a lot. And I am going to do a breakdown of that interview as well. Okay. Because there were a lot of things I liked, and there were some things I was like, can we keep it going? Okay. Can we move off of this subject and move on to something else? But we'll get there when we get there. That's a 3 hour video. So I'm going to need some time to compile that one out for y'all. But this one's only an hour, so I think we should be able to get through it today. And if you're not here for the live, I will just like chop and screw it up and put it in shorter videos. So we'll get it popping. Let me see. Before we do this, I do want to go to the comment section because I looked at it earlier and y'all, it's had me dead this whole time. It's had me dead for the longest. Uh, I grew up in the middle class. I grew up in a middle class family that taught me the comment section is where I go first, bruh. The real MVP is Shannon's team for not turning off the comments. Yes, shout out to you, Shannon. We'll see if you try to take my video down or my stream down because you're trying to gatekeep the content, even though I'm doing commentary. We'll see. I don't know if you do that or not. I really don't know if you do that or not. We'll find out though. Uh, I haven't felt more unity in the comment section than I have the last 4 years. That's funny. Wow, the comment section is giving me hope for America today. That's hilarious. I think more people showed up for the comment section than the actual interview. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw this video go up, I clicked it, paused, and went straight to the comments to see what people were saying. I'm not even gonna hold you. I literally clicked pause and went straight to the comment section, and this is exactly what I saw. Everyone commenting on how they went to the comment section. That is so funny. The comment section did not disappoint. I knew we had it in us. So funny. This person said, Shannon, congratulations for breaking a record for the most non-watch straight to the comments video. Bruh. The irony of all of us running to the comments section only to find comments about running to the comments. That is just crazy. It's just like a bunch of comments all about going to the comments. Like when I saw the Joe Rogan podcast, I went to the comments as well, right? And it was just a lot of people saying from where they were from. They were just like, oh, I'm from so and so and I'm watching this. Oh, I'm from so and so and I'm watching this. So that was pretty interesting. But nothing like, hey, I paused the video and just went to the comments to see what y'all was saying. I wonder how much of this 64,454 comments, how many of them are about going to the comments? I would love to see the stats on that. That is just whew, that's brutal. That is absolutely brutal. But let's go ahead and get into the video. Let's see if she can redeem herself. Let's see if this actually was like the Joe Rogan podcast. And I kind of want to keep a tally of how many times she says her little catchphrases. You know, turn the page, grew up middle class. What's another one? Unburdened by what is or what was. She has so many little catchphrases. I wonder how many times she's going to say these catchphrases. Uh, I'm not going to count them now. Okay. I'm not going to count them now. I'll wait until I'm looking at this video again and I'll recount them and I'll give y'all a total of how many slogans and catchphrases we hear. But for her sake, hopefully she can redeem herself. All right. Hopefully she can, you know, uh, show us that she's human and not just a robot repeating the same things over and over and over again, and not just a robot that is focused so heavily on telling us how bad Trump is without actually telling us how good she is. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm skeptical, but we will see. Uh, what's up, ripping heads? Oof. That is one hell of a name. Your comment section was wild, messing with my head. Yeah, the comments under my Ab and Preach video are hilarious. I hope nobody's really in their feelings, you know, in that comment section. I hope everyone is there having fun, in good spirits. I know some people were, you know, a little mad, but it is what it is. I was having fun. Every comment I wrote, I was writing it with a smile on my face because it's just funny to me. What's up with Reyes? What's up, FH? Hey, girl. You said you guys will see me live. I'm doing good. Very, very pregnant. Very pregnant, very swollen. Ready for my baby to come out, but then also not ready because then I'll have two babies, two under two. You know, but that's what happens. You do grown folk things. You gotta deal with grown folk consequences. So, you know, I've just been enjoying my pregnancy as much as I can and enjoying my daughter. She's getting so big. Like, she was standing up next to me the other day. I'm like, why are you already at my knee? Like, I'm gonna need you to shrink back down and be a baby again. Like, it's wild, you know, being a whole parent and stuff. And you just get to see these little people just grow up right before your eyes. It's wild. But I'm doing good, sis. I hope you're doing good too. I hope everyone is doing good. Even the people wilding out in my comment section, I hope you're doing good. All right, let's go ahead and get into this video and see how it goes. If it's a train wreck or if she's able to redeem herself. You know, I always hope for the best, okay? I hope that she does okay. We'll see.
Grew up in the 80s. But I'm only 35.
Come on now, I'm your guest.
No, but you only 30.
I'm gonna give you a shovel in a minute.
I see. You won't let it go. Dang.
Okay, I need to get past that little inner music thing because I don't know what that is. That could be some copyrighted music. I ain't trying to, no thank you. They seem to be having fun, which is good. Okay. I like when people have fun. Let's see.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Club Shay Shay. This episode is brought to you by Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
Okay. Let me get past that.
It's cast by Vice President. She's the first Black woman, Asian American in U.S. history.
Black woman? First Black woman? Shannon, come on now. Come on now. Black where? That is a red dot Indian woman. And there's nothing wrong with her being Indian. Like, there really isn't anything wrong with her being Indian. I literally was just at an Indian restaurant last night. Like, there's literally nothing wrong with her being a Hindu Indian woman. Black? No. No, ma'am. No, sir.
To win the presidential nomination of a major party. She's the first HBCU grad, making us proud. She's a Howard University alum. She's a member of the prestigious Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Here she is in person, Madam VP, Kamala Harris. Madam VP, how you doing?
Before we get into like the actual meat and potatoes of the video, why his pants so damn tight? It's making me uncomfortable because I feel like they're gonna just rip open. Why are his pants painted onto his legs? I don't understand this style. Like, what is this fashion statement? Her pants fit better than his. Like, that is just it makes me so uncomfortable to see men in pants that damn tight. Like, are you trying to be a baddie? Are you trying to show off your cakes? Like, I don't get it. The suit too damn small. I'm sorry, it's just too damn small. You a big ass man. Let's be serious. I'm gonna need you to buy a suit that fits. Okay, maybe not that loose fitting suit that Kelly Rowland had on, where he had her looking like Tom when he was dressed up in the zoot suit from Tom and Jerry. If you don't get the reference, that might show how old I am. I don't know. I grew up, they were still showing the reruns, but you don't need a suit that loose. But I'm gonna need it to not be hugging your thighs in that way. It's making me very uncomfortable.
Thank you very well, Shannon.
It
How
is
you
an
doing?
extreme honor, privilege, and a pleasure to have you on Club Shay Shay. CJ, who's the producer here, when we started this journey, Madam VP, 4 years ago, celebrities, athletes, entertainers, influencers.
Yeah.
VPs and presidential hopefuls were on the bingo card. You here, so I want to thank you very much.
I thank you.
When we have guests come on, Madam VP, we
I can't get past the tight pants. I'm trying to, y'all. I'm trying to. When he scooted forward, I was just like, I was so scared for him. I was like, you gonna flash us? Like, I'm sorry, I can't get past the tight pants. I can't. I'm trying to. I'm really trying, y'all. Whew. Can we get into the conversation part? We 2 minutes in. Okay, let's go.
like to toast. And what I read on this card, you don't deserve this. You earned this. Being the first in so many areas. And you make us proud. I just want you to know you make us proud for what you've been able to accomplish. And we're 12 days away, and we hope you have an even greater accomplishment.
Okay, so how is this exactly like Joe Rogan? At least from my recollection, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Joe started the thing off with kissing Trump's ass. You earned this. You did your thing. I'm so proud of you. Like, how am I supposed to think that you're gonna approach this with journalistic integrity if you're kissing her ass, like, as soon as as soon as the podcast start? Like, you didn't even you just went straight to ass kissing. That's not the best way to show that you're unbiased, right? This is clearly going to be a very biased interview. Whereas, like, at least with the Joe Rogan one, we know for a fact that Joe really wasn't effing with Trump like that. He said several times before this that he was not a Trump supporter. He's just not a fan. So, there was some kind of, like, pushback that was just inevitably going to be there, because if you don't like somebody, you're going to clearly disagree with some of the things that they say. So even with this, it's not the same. It is not the same. He's clearly biased. He's clearly either unaware of her record or being disingenuous about her. Because I'm pretty sure, if you know anything about Cherie Peoples, okay, I bring this up all the time because, look, I don't care about a celebrity endorsement. What I do care about are the people you've affected, right? And Kamala Harris directly affected Cherie Peoples. She's a regular schmegular mother, single mother, has a daughter who was chronically ill, and Kamala targeted her. Kamala in her office targeted her for truancy because her child was literally in the hospital because she's chronically ill. What do you expect her to do? Send her child who's, like, sick? I don't know exactly what symptoms you have when you have sickle cell, but seriously, symptoms that are strong enough where you have to go to the emergency room. You expect her to just send her child to school, even though her child clearly needs medical attention? Guess what? That's called medical abuse. Okay? That is called medical abuse, and she would have gotten in trouble for that too. So it's like, I would much rather her take her daughter to the hospital when she needs to go to the hospital instead of trying to get her into school. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And Kamala in her office attacked this woman for 2 years, during which she lost her job, lost her home, her daughter had a stroke. It's just, the whole story is sad. So is this what you're proud of, Shannon? This is the record you're proud of? Her withholding evidence so that black men could be convicted of crimes that they have evidence to prove that they didn't do? Withholding that evidence. We're proud of that. That's what we're proud of. excuse me? Okay. Either you're ignorant to these things, or you know these things and you're just being disingenuous and ass kissing because you're just happy that she's there.
So here's to continued success in everything you've done and everything that you will do.
Oh, bless you. And thank you. And to you, Shannon, to
Thank
you
you.
for all the success and the voice you give to so many issues. Thank you for that.
Thank you very
And
much.
cheers.
I will say this though. I like her shoes. I will say this. Those little booties is cute. Okay, hey, I like to call spade a spade. Them shoes is cute. I would like those shoes. Those are nice.
Cheers to you.
Cheers.
And
What was
I'm
that?
not going to actually drink this because I might fall asleep. And I need to do this
I don't want you to
with
fall
Barack
asleep.
Obama this afternoon.
We don't want you to fall.
You telling me you gonna fall asleep off of this little bit of liquor is gonna put you to sleep? But you went on, what was it, Stephen Colbert or what are these little white dudes, and you drank beer with him, but you won't take this tiny sip. Like, you couldn't even pretend to just and put it down. You want to lie to us and tell us it's gonna put you to sleep? The only way that's gonna put you to sleep is if you already liquored up, and that is just like right at the tipping point of as much as you could take. Let's be serious. Okay, so you're just gonna waste whatever he poured for you, that little itty bit that he poured for you. Okay, so you'll drink with the white people, but you won't drink with this black man. Got it.
So here we are. Cheers to everybody.
So before we get into the things that you want to do once you become president of the United States, I want to go back. When you found out when President Biden called you and said that he was no longer going to seek re-election,
Yeah.
and you got that call, do you remember where you were and what you thought when you heard him say these words to you?
I do. So I was home. It was a Sunday afternoon. And my niece, her husband, and their 2 young daughters were visiting and staying with us. And I promised the kids I'd have pancakes and bacon and everything.
Okay.
What? Why are we talking about pancakes and bacon? Sis, how'd you feel? Tell me what you feel. And Joe did ask a slightly similar question when he asked Trump what it felt like when he first, got to the White House as president. He ain't bringing up no damn pancakes. He came out the gate saying it felt surreal and then compared it to when he was shot. So.
And then after that, I had a puzzle for the kids, and we were sitting down to do the puzzle.
Okay.
And the phone rang.
Okay.
And it was President Biden. And so that's when he told me. And it was obviously life-changing in so many ways. But, I have to tell you, Shannon, I at that moment, I knew what it would mean, but not in the detail of it, but I certainly understood the seriousness and the gravity of the moment. And actually, one of the first people I called was my pastor.
A pastor. This Hindu Indian woman called her pastor. Okay. 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 I'm sorry, the cosplaying is just so ridiculous and blatant at this moment. You talk about you called your pastor. You're trying to do all this like dog whistling about blackness. Girl, stop. You don't got no damn pastor. What do they call the religious leaders in the Hindu religion? Is that who you called? Or you didn't call nobody? Because you already knew you were going to get the seat because, not the seat, but the candidacy, because they were forcing Biden out. Like, literally forcing this man out of the position. This is just hilarious to me. It's absolutely hilarious. She spoke to her dad. You're so stupid. I mean, I honestly, I would not have an issue if she said she spoke to, I don't know what the religious figures are called in Hindu religion, but if she said that, that'd be cool. But why the pandering? Okay, why the pandering? You already told a bunch of religious people at your rally that they were at the wrong rally because they said God is king or whatever they said. But now it's like, my pastor this. She ain't brought up a pastor this whole campaign until she got in trouble for telling those people that were saying religious things at her rally, that they're at the wrong rally. Now all of a sudden she going to the black church and she talking about she got a pastor and all this other stuff. Like, girl, stop. Just stop it. This whole pandering to black people is so weird to me. And I saw a video of this other woman, this other black woman, and she was talking about how she doesn't understand why they're pandering so heavy to the black community if we're this much of the population. If you're saying we're only 13% of the population, why are you pandering so hard to us? The math ain't mathin'. I think there's way more of us than 13%. And somebody is lying. And that's basically the point that she was making. It was like, you can't be pandering this hard to this small group if it's really that small of a group. Let's be serious. But y'all, this blackfishing is just insane to me at this point. Is absolutely insane.
Wow. Okay.
I knew I needed a moment to just be still, and for my spirit and my mind to have clarity about the seriousness of the moment and my role. And I'll never forget
Right.
that call or that moment or that day.
Your life instantaneously changed in that moment.
Yes, it did.
Because now all of a sudden you weren't going to be running, you weren't going to be the VP anymore. You were going to be front and center. And
Right.
you knew what the undertaking, having been 4 years as the vice president, what that moment would mean.
I had a sense of it, like so many of us, when you this is your life, right? So there are those moments where your instinct kicks in, sometimes before your conscious mind and thoughts do.
Right.
And my instinct kicked in immediately that I need to focus and I need to do certain things immediately, which included making, I think we estimated I made over 100 calls that day. My team, and I have an incredible team, all came in, and nobody expected, right? It was a Sunday afternoon.
Correct.
Nobody expected it. Girl, bye. Nobody expected it, but y'all started floating around even more so how Joe Biden was like literally deteriorating, that he was senile. Y'all started floating that idea around even more than like the Trump supporters or the Republicans or whatever, right wing, whatever you want to call them. Y'all started floating around that idea even more because you were already planning on kicking this man out. So it's just, let's stop being disingenuous here. Let's call a spade a spade. You skirted the primaries. Last time you ran, ain't nobody vote for your ass. You were one of the first people to leave. So, I'm a bit confusion when it comes to that. They love to say how Trump is a threat to democracy. Whole time they stole the vote from the Democrats. Like, the Democrats deserved a primary if Biden wasn't gonna run. If he was not going to run, the Democrats deserve to have even if it was a brief, very short primary period so that they can make a choice for their candidate. Because a lot of people don't really like her and they have other options that they wish were on the table, but they didn't get that choice because their Democratic vote was taken from them by elites. If that's not a threat to democracy, I don't know what is. If that's not a complete threat to your democracy as well as my own, because right now they've set a precedent. Okay, they set a precedent that, hey, when we feel like it, we can just select the candidate you can choose from, rather than giving you that choice, that direct choice as to who will run for you. What's up, Demi? What's up, Chantel the Sip? What's good, y'all? What's good? Sparking zero, grinding on sparking. What is that? I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that is. But yeah, you knew well in advance that this was going to happen because you and Nancy Pelosi worked together along with some other people to literally force Biden out of his incumbency right to being the candidate. Let's just call a spade a spade. Stop trying to sugarcoat it and make it sound better than what it was. It was what it was. Oh, Dragon Ball Z. Oh, is that the new seasons of Dragon Ball Z? That's what they're calling it. I didn't know. I kind of checked out of the whole Dragon Ball Z thing. Um, I still rock with the old school Dragon Ball Z stuff, like Dragon Ball all the way to Dragon Ball Z through GT. I think that's when I stopped. Was GT. Oh, it's a game. Okay, because I feel like I heard that they had a Dragon Ball Z series that was out too, and then they also had the game. I thought. Oh snap! Thank you. I got a super chat. Thank you so much, Minutes Before Midnight. I appreciate it. I saw you in the comment section too. You was going crazy. You was going crazy about them tariffs. Had to stop by real quick. You're definitely getting your engagement up on the Avon Preach video. I'm laughing too hard at these comments. Me too. Me too. There's so much going on in the world that is just like devastating. We all deserve to laugh and laugh at each other. So, you know, the comment sections be funny. That'd be the first place I go with literally every video I watch. But even going to my own comment section, very funny, very hilarious, okay? And you was definitely tagging them on that tariff conversation. I didn't even have to say nothing after a certain point. I was like, y'all got it. I was like, the kings and queens in my comment section, they got this. When you try to explain to folks how tariffs work, and you know, some people, they've been so propagandized, like they've been so indoctrinated that they don't understand how tariffs work and the long game approach to it. So, or how economics work, because that's directly related to economics and supply and demand and all of that. So thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. I don't think I have it on here where I can pull it up. I wish I could pull up is there a way for me to pull it up? I'm still figuring out OBS. I think I used to know how to do that, but then I stopped streaming for a while. So I don't remember all the little things to pull things up. I wish I could pull it up. When I do the recap of the video, because I'm going to condense this and then put it out in the other little videos, I will put your comment onto the video so people can see. But yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much again. Minutes Before Midnight. You did your thing in the comment section. Let's see. But yeah, I forget what I was talking about. I was talking about something. Hey, what's up, Rizza? What's up? I'm not good at the weave. Okay, I'm not 100%. I'm not as good as Trump at the weave. I get lost in the conversation and then I just keep talking. So I don't remember. I don't remember what I was speaking on. I was speaking on something. Maybe the primaries? Was that it? How they took the primaries from the Democrat people? I don't know. It was something like that. But what's up, Rizza? And yes, like, comment, and subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, comment. Okay, leave me hate comments. That's cool too. I don't delete comments. Okay, I don't delete comments. Sometimes YouTube will delete comments if it violates their guidelines and stuff. And I've been checking the held, because they have, you know, on the interface, they have a held comments section where it'll hold back comments and I got to approve them. I've been checking and luckily no comments have been held back so far. After a certain point, I'm going to stop checking. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to keep going back to every single video to check. But for right now, I have been checking on that Abba and Preach video to make sure nobody's comments that are within my control are being held up. Whether you talking ish about me or not, I don't care. You said you had time today. I think several of us did. But yeah, what's up, Rizza? Rizza's an OG of the channel. Let's see. Let's get back into the video because it's a whole hour. We need to get through this.
In fact, we actually joked who had taken a shower that day. Because, you know, people came in their workout clothes.
Right.
You know, different people and, you know, a bandana around their head, just, you know, and came in and we then, for hours and hours, well into the night.
Did you tell them? Did you tell them why you had summoned them to come to your place? Did you give them that news, or were you waiting for them to get there to share that news with them?
Well, so the news started to, as you can imagine, pretty much immediately, and but you know, of the many blessings that I have and have had, one of them is an incredible team of people around me. You know what that's like,
yes.
Where they're just there and they will rise to a moment. And
so bad for that one. She didn't bring greens. Y'all, I've been wanting to mention this for a while now. I really feel like she's getting all her cues for what blackness is from social media. Because I remember back in the 2010s, now y'all might remember this or not, there was a viral video of this black woman talking about how she washes her greens in the bathtub. I remember seeing it back then. And literally everybody commented on it. All the black people that I saw commenting on it was like, girl, that's nasty. I would never eat at your house. That was everyone's response to it. Was like, girl, no. Like, what are you doing? This was like a viral clip that went viral like a long time ago, back in the 2010s. So when I heard her say she washed her greens in a bathtub, I was like, you're literally pulling from a viral video from a black woman, using that to kind of define blackness for yourself. But it was some obscure black woman that everybody disagreed with and was disgusted by. Like, girl, that whole greens conversation was so disturbing to me. I've been black my whole life. I ain't never seen none of my black relatives wash produce in a bathtub. Never. The sink, or you get a bucket and you wash it, you wash it in a bucket and stuff like that. I've seen that. But not no damn bathtub. That's tantamount to them videos of them people putting, I know you've seen those videos of people, they have a toilet bowl and they clean it and then they put food in the toilet bowl, like a bunch of ice cream and stuff. I know y'all have seen that, and it is the most disgusting thing that I've ever, like, ew. It is about the same thing. And I'm like, no, what we not finna do is start eating in the bathroom. Like, what we not gonna do is start, like, preparing our food in the bathtub. Ugh. If I saw that, I would never eat at your house. I would never eat at your house. I don't care how much comment you done seasoned into the bathtub before you watch. I ain't coming to your house. Never. Don't serve me nothing. I'ma just tell you, hey, I'm good. I ate before I came. I would just say I'm good. I ate before I came, or I'll just say I'm allergic to whatever the hell that is. I'm allergic. Keep it away from me. I'm good. I was just like, I know this heifer did not just pull a viral video from the 2010s and try to pass that off as I'm black. Hey, look, this is how I do my greens. Girl, stop it. Stop it. Pulled the Bernie Mac. I've been black a long time. I have been. Okay, don't let this light bright skin fool you. I've been black my whole life. I grew up with black people because I am black people and my family black. And I remember waking up to the smell of chitlins. Y'all, tangent. Okay, I'm gonna try to weave it back in. Y'all, the smell of freaking chitlins. If you got Southern people that's in your family, like a mother that's Southern, or they have grandparents that's Southern, and they wake you up to the smell of them cleaning chitlins, ugh, disgusting. Tomato. Get that ish out of here. Man. You know, I've been black my whole life. We've been doing this. Okay? We've been doing this. Let me see. Demi says greens in the bathtub should be punishable by capital punishment. That's funny. Yeah, not the tub. They be the same ones who mop and clean the mop in the no, let's not. No. Like I said, you just can't eat at everybody's house. And you can't just go to a potluck with an empty plate ready to eat everybody's food. No. You bet she don't wash her chicken, Rizza? She probably don't. She probably don't. Toilet water wine, washing machine sweet potato pie. Ugh. No. What we're not going to do is disrespect food like this. With all this hunger going on in the world, we're not about to disrespect our food. Okay? No, ma'am. No, sir. Don't even bring up Asmongold. You're gonna make me vomit. Do not bring up Asmongold. Kamala made it sound like she making greens like Asmongold. uh, uh. I'm gonna move on because what the hell, nasty. You ever just look at somebody through a picture and you just know they stank? Like you just know for a fact that they smell like booty juice, like must and booty juice. You could just tell just by looking at their face in a picture. The pictures start to stink. I'm gonna just leave it there. Ugh.
No matter how high that moment is, or meaning how serious it is. And what I love, and it's certainly my own work ethic, that there is no job too small or too big if there's something that needs to get done.
So, although you have a huge role now, what's a typical day like for you now once you've been thrust into this? What time are you normally getting to bed? What time are you getting up? And what's some of the activities that you do in a given day?
I'd probably estimate 14-hour, 15-hour days.
Okay.
When I wake up, no matter how little sleep or how much sleep I've had, I work out every morning.
Okay. Okay.
Because
Yes.
it's like mind, body, and spirit, right? And
We're the fat phobia people to say how she's fat phobic. They're very quiet. The fat phobia people are very quiet about her fat phobia. I joke, I kid. I that's good for her. Good for her for getting up and getting that exercise. And you could tell, she, for an older woman, like she take care of herself. You could tell.
and then that's the only time of my day I really own. And then it is these days it's not unusual for me to be in 3 or even 4 cities in one day. Rallies with thousands of people, 10,000 people showing up, making calls to folks. Just now I landed in Atlanta, the mayor of Atlanta, who greets me every single time. So I'll talk with elected leaders who are supportive about, so for example, here in Atlanta, what do we need to do to make sure that we're giving folks the resources to knock on doors and remind folks of the.
What's funny is that I live in the Atlanta area, and most of the signs I see on people's actual lawns are Trump Vance signs. And the signs that I see for Kamala are like on the highway, are like on, strips of road where there's no house, just little, turn signs. That's where I really see a lot of the Harris Wall signs are like unclaimed areas. And they just be a pile of them, just all stacked up. But then when I'm looking in like different residential areas, most of the time I see Trump Vance signs. I would never put no sign on my lawn. I'm going to just tell you that. The signs look tacky as hell. I would not be putting no damn sign on my lawn anytime ever. I don't care how. Jesus himself could run for president. I ain't putting his damn sign on my lawn. It's tacky. Okay, it's tacky. But other Americans, they love to put their signs on their lawns. I'm mostly seeing Trump Vance signs on people's lawns as opposed to the Kamala Harris ones. It's just on random strips of land. You just see them. You driving down the highway and they all on the highway like, okay. But I mean, good publicity or barely noticed publicity is still publicity, I guess. What's up, AA Ron? What's up, AA Ron?
Power of their voice. And 12 days in, it really is a lot about trying to focus on getting folks to know their power, to not let anybody suppress or silence their voice, and to vote.
Right.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn minute. Not you saying people to know the power of their voice when y'all are literally blocking Jill Stein and Cornel West from being on the ticket. Y'all are literally putting money behind keeping them off of the ticket. But everyone's voices should be heard. At your rallies, you're literally telling people to leave. Oh, you at the wrong rally. What about their voices? I'm speaking. What about their voices? You want to talk about people's voices being heard, but every chance you get, you try to silence other people's voices. Girl, please stop.
Breakfast. What does Madam VP eat for breakfast, or do you have time to, or is it on the go?
No,
What do you eat for breakfast? What are these questions? What are these questions? Okay, at least when Joe Rogan asked him about how it felt to be in the White House for the first time, that's still related to his experience as a president. I don't need to know what this hoe eat every morning. Excuse me. I don't need to know what you eat. I don't care. If you want to talk about a puff piece, this is it. What do you eat for breakfast? What you eat? Yeah, I see why Cat Williams said he had bad questions. Yes. Cuz what is this? I don't care about what she eats. Okay, as long as she's not eating the cats and the dogs, I don't care. Oh, you said Willie D? Willie D said he asked bad questions? Yeah. Uh, that's why I was telling somebody in my comment section, I was like, they brought up the Cat Williams interview to kind of, hype up Club Shay Shay. And I was like, the Cat Williams interview was good because of Cat Williams. I could listen to this man talk to drying paint and it would be the most hilarious thing I've ever heard. Like, he is just a very entertaining man. It doesn't matter who you put in front of him. He is going to be funny no matter what. He just is that guy. Like, that's just who he is. Uh, so these questions are pretty bad. I mean, the question about, how you felt when you found out you were the nominee, fine. That's perfectly fine. I have no issues with that. But what you ate for breakfast? First of all, she just said something about making pancakes. Can we just take that information and run with it? Okay, bitch eats pancakes. Like, what is this?
When I was younger, I didn't think I needed breakfast. I wasn't a breakfast eater.
Okay.
Now I have breakfast every morning. It's usually a spinach omelet. It's not very exciting.
Right.
But it's protein with a little vegetable. And, I like chicken, apple sausage, and some toast, and then I'm gone.
Madam VP, you're a couple of years older than myself, so we kind of
Thank
grew
you.
up in the 80s. But I'm only 35.
Come on now, I'm your guest.
No, but you only 30. But we grew up.
But just keep moving, because I'm gonna give you a shovel in a minute.
I see. You won't let it go. Dang. We could have just moved on past that real quick, but you drew attention to it. But we grew up in the 70s when music went in fire. Ohio players.
Oh yes, fire.
I see what's happening here. I see what's happening here. Yeah. Bruh. Is this whole thing gonna be an attempt to make her seem more black? Is this what this interview is, to try to make her seem more black? Like, what? And I mean, Fire by Ohio Players is fire. I love that song, but nigga, what? What's up, Dayton? What's up? This feels like Umbridge from Harry Potter. Bruh. Y'all, please don't tell me that this is just going to be a whole interview to try to make us think that she is black. Because, she like Ohio Players. She likes, oh my God. Oh my God. Please don't tell me that this is going to be a whole conversation to try to make her seem more black.
Oh, you were like Fire?
Come on.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun,
Yes.
dun, 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 dun.
Yes. What do you listen to now?
Oh, I wish I were listening to more music, to be honest with you, because I love it. Just, but
You don't
when
have downtown like when
It's just, I'm sorry. What the hell was that? She gonna do, bruh. Ripping head, stop. Stop.
you have downtime.
I don't have any downtime, really. I know my little violin I'm playing right now with you. I really don't. But when I love jazz.
Mm-hmm.
If it's from Thelonious Monk to Miles Davis.
Mm-hmm.
I love Aretha. I was just with Stevie.
Right.
Stevie's, can I tell you?
Yes, you can.
Bucket list. Stevie Wonder on my birthday sang me happy birthday. Can you believe
Happy
your
birthday.
birthday to me?
Oh my.
That's exactly what this is. I'm convinced. This is just a conversation to make her seem more black. Yeah. All right. Alrighty. Just like Joe Rogan? Okay. Somebody a damn lie. Because I watched the Joe Rogan interview. It wasn't nothing like this. It wasn't nothing like this. The pandering is just so heavy right now. Is as a black woman who's been black her whole life, this is pretty annoying. I'm not gonna lie. This is actually very annoying.
Can you imagine?
No.
I was literally it was surreal. Can you a bucket list moment
Right.
when Stevie Wonder himself sings you happy birthday?
As an 18-year-old,
Yeah.
could you imagine
Never.
your life would have been like this?
Never.
This many years
Never.
later?
And let me tell you, my mother she had every Stevie and every Aretha Franklin record, every album, like literally every one of them. So Songs in the Key of Life, like all those Stevie songs that were about everything from the movement to optimism. I would have never, at 18, thought that he'd be singing me happy birthday. Ever. Never. Never.
That's the least. I mean, but obviously everybody knows who Stevie is. He was a child prodigy, 13 years old, and he was doing great things. But to see, Madam VP, what you've been able to do, you've had so many firsts. The first woman attorney general,
Yeah.
African American, Asian American descent.
African American? Where? African American where? Stop. African American where? Elon Musk is more African American. I would accept him more as because he's actually an African American. And look, I love me some Stevie Wonder, okay? I love me some Stevie Wonder. Look, I really do hate that celebrities really come out for politics and stuff like that. I hate it because when they do or say stupid things, it makes you look at them crazy, but then you like, yo, they got bops. Like, they got bops. And, Stevie Wonder is one of them people that got hella songs that's amazing. And I'm gonna still listen to my Stevie Wonder. I don't give a good goddamn, But it's just like, it's cringy. You know what I mean? Like, it's very, very cringy. And, I just, man, I wish we could go back to a time when celebrities just weren't on, like, social media, and we could just have that veil of, mystery about them. Because when you hear them come out and say a bunch of stupid stuff or do stupid things, I'm just like, bruh. You play some of his songs on piano? Okay. Yeah, he's got hits. He's got so many really good songs. Like, some of his songs, I'm not even gonna lie, when I listen to them, they literally put tears in my eyes. Like, they literally just make me start boohoo crying. It's just, Stevie Wonder's that dude. I'm not gonna dislike him because of that, just because, like, I'm not gonna use politics as a reason to discount someone. Now, he's always gonna have good music. He's always gonna be a legend. I don't care. But it just makes you go like, yeah. Him, Neo, Babyface. Yeah.
You was the DA of San Francisco. You were the first Indian American U.S. senator.
And second black woman ever in the history of the United States Senate elected. Second in the history of the United States Senate.
Have you had an opportunity to sit back and reflect and it's like, wow, but work is not yet done?
That's more where I am. The work is not done. The work is not yet done. There's so much to do. I mean, to your point, being in the Senate, there is a weight of responsibility that I know we all feel, right? Mm-hmm. When we have been blessed with an experience that allows us to be a role model.
Great.
And to hopefully inspire people and to remind them of what's important or point out the things that need to be addressed. So, for example, as only the second black woman elected to the United States.
You're not black. You're not a black woman. You're a Hindu, Indian, Irish woman. And that's okay. Like, that's okay. You don't gotta try to rep our set. I know it's cool over here, okay? I know being a black woman seem real lit. But I just hear my daughter going la 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 in the background. Bruh, if you hear those baby noises, just know her dad is in there with her and she's fine. But what is it? Is this all this interview about to be? Hey, I'm blackity black just like you. What the hell?
United States Senate, I took on a real role of leadership around black maternal mortality, which affects black women and affects their spouses, their husbands, their families, their children. And I feel a sense of responsibility and a very strong duty to make sure that I use my voice and in a way that is about lifting up people who have not always been in the room.
Hello, America.
Oh God. This is a little ad here. But, as far as the maternal, black women basically dying on the operating table or dying during childbirth, that is a real issue. But what exactly have you done about that? What exactly have you done about that? I haven't heard you speak on that until now. Stop.
Check in tomorrow.
If you could speak to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell her?
If I could speak to my 18-year-old self, I would probably tell her, continue to keep your friends. My best friend from kindergarten is still one of my best friends.
What?
Yes.
Y'all made it to the first grade as best friends?
Yes. In fact, she's been out knocking on doors in North Carolina just this last week for me.
So you flew your friend out from Canada to come knock on doors for you? Okay, sis.
I would say, hold on to that, which is your friends are so important. Your family is so important. I would probably encourage myself at 18 to remember that you have a lot of people who are supporting you, even if they don't know you. That's what I mentor a lot of people, Shannon. So this is what I'm really reflecting on, which is what I tell the young people I mentor, including to know that even when you are in that room and you're the only one who looks like you or who has had your life experience, to know you are not alone in that room and that you must therefore walk in that room, chin up, shoulders back, knowing we're all there applauding you. When I mentor young women and men,
do we really want to be mentored by someone who did something strange for some positions? Do we want to really be mentored by someone who did some things with a married man to get their position? I'm gonna tell you, for my daughter, I want better for her. They talk about the patriarchy this, the patriarchy that. But when you're, giving Gok 3000 to get to the places you want to go, that's not a message that I want to send to my daughter. I want her to know that she can work hard and get into those spaces without demeaning herself and without sleeping with married men. That isn't her married man. Okay? Your husband is one thing, but somebody else's husband? Okay. That's not something you would tell your younger self? Maybe not to sleep with a married man and that you could get there on your own. If she had said something like that, I'll be like, okay, real shit. But no. Girl.
and I remind them that you are often going to be told, well, it's not your time, not your turn, you're too young, nobody like you has done this before. And I tell them, don't you ever listen to that.
Yeah, just bust out the knee pads. Get to work. Bust out the knee pads, get to work, and you'll get where you're going.
I like to say I eat no for breakfast. I don't hear no. You ask me what I eat for breakfast? I eat no for breakfast. I don't hear it.
Right.
And that's part of what are my life lessons that I try to share with young people to remind them that you cannot ever be burdened by other people's limits.
There we go. Burdened. I was waiting for that word to pop up. What are we unburdening ourselves from, Kamala?
Limited ability to understand who you are. Like, don't let their limited ability burden you about your own ability, you know?
Madam VP, you were raised by a single mom. What did that experience tell you about your mom, and what did it tell you about you?
Well, it told me that one of the things that is precious is to build community and family.
Okay.
Like my mother, she understood that there is a community that she wanted her children to be raised in. Mm-hmm. And she was very intentional and purposeful about that. And so I always say to people, even when I took the stage as the nominee for the Democratic nomination, that, you know, there is the family that you have by birth, and there is also the family you have by love.
Oh, is that the black part? Is the family by love where you get the black part from? Not the birth part, but the black part comes from the family of love that you've surrounded yourself with, and not the actual people that are blood relatives.
And they're equally family,
Yes.
right? And I learned that from my mother. So my mother, I had all these aunties and uncles. My Uncle Sherman, who was one of the first black men to graduate from Berkeley School of Law, who, when we were young girls, sat us down and taught us how to play chess.
I'm guessing this is one of the family members by love and not by birth. What's up, Zero? What's up, Zero? What's up, Kyle Smith? What's up? What's up? You're new. I think you're a new face. Her dad is a professor at Berkeley. Yeah, I think I saw an interview with Judge O'Brien. He said when he was introduced to her father, because they had met, he was introduced as the Hindu professor. Isn't that interesting? Very interesting stuff.
Because Uncle Sherman said, you need to understand how the chessboard works, because that's the way the world works. There are going to be different players with different moves, and you need to see the whole board. My mother raised us around, like my Auntie Chris, who went to Howard in the 50s and pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha. And she was one of my incredible role models growing up. And that was one of the big reasons I wanted to go to Howard University and pledge Alpha Kappa Alpha. Those are some of the lessons that I've learned from my mother. And I try to also share with people, right? Which is the beauty of community. And it's the way I am, right? Which is, you know, the children in my life, whether they be my own or
your own. You don't have any children. Girl, don't insult a real mother. You don't have any children. And no, I'm not tolerating the, oh, well, I married this man and he has a 15-year-old and a 20-year-old. They're now my children. You did not raise them. You did not raise them. Stop it. You do not have children. And as someone who actually does have children, well, 1.5. Okay, the other half is still baking. You don't get to say that. Stop. You don't have children. Your womb is barren. Okay, you don't have children. Right? You didn't adopt a child as a baby and raise them up. You didn't have stepchildren that were small children and then you raised them up. His kids was already damn near grown. You didn't raise them. Stop. Stop bastardizing what motherhood is. Just stop it. Stop claiming things that just aren't you. You can't claim motherhood, sis. You can maybe be an auntie-hood. Okay, you're auntie-hood. But motherhood, no. Girl, bye.
You know, my godchildren or whomever, right? That it's a collective responsibility that we have.
Did you know you were different? I mean, were there a lot of people in the community that looked like you and like your mom? Or did your mom tell you were different?
Look like you and your mom, your Indian mom. There was a lot of people in the that look like you and your Indian mom. Okay, he stuck a little thing in there. He snuck a little thing in there. A little wink wink to those who are listening that she's Indian, not black. People that look like you and your Indian mom. Okay.
Well, my mother taught us to, and everyone in my growing up, you know, they would tell all of us kids that we were special.
Okay.
I don't think we were particularly special,
Right.
but they told us we were, and we believed them.
Yes.
We believed them. I think that's such an important part of what we can all do for the children and the children in our lives. And, you know, but my mother raised two black girls to be proud black women.
How does your Indian mother raise two black girls? How? How? Bruh.
Back to music. One of the soundtracks from my childhood was, you know, You Are Young, Gifted, and Black. You know? And
So because your mama put on a blackety black song, that now makes you black. You said you ain't mad at Shay Shay, he getting his paper? Hey, I know he got a brick for this. Even if the views are trash, like there's got 1 million views, but the watch time is probably very low based on the comments. Hey, he got the bag. Good for him. I'm not hating on him getting a bag. I'm not mad at anybody getting a bag. You know, Lizzo got her bag. Beyonce probably got her bag too. I'm not mad at people getting a bag. Hey, get your money. Get your money.
because I think that's how they'd want us to remember them, but also to remember their suffering, which hopefully was a fraction of their time on this earth, is to compound the grief in a way that I think it adds to the pain. And what they'd want is that their active memory, that our active memory of them is about when they were vibrant and alive.
Are we good? Are we good? It seemed like they said the stream went down. I don't know if it's because is Club Shay Shay coming for your girl? Let me see here. Let me see. Okay. It looks like it's back. It looks like it's back. Hold on 1 second. All right. I don't know when the stream went down. I'm not 100% sure when we got a little pause going. But yeah, I guess she's just talking about, I think maybe her mother. I missed who she was talking to, but I'm guessing it was her mother passing. And I agree. When you have people in your life that are very sick, you know, it's difficult to deal with something like that. And the last thing you want to do is just remember them in that state of being when they're not themselves. You know what I'm saying? If you've ever been around people that are very sick and it corrupts their ability to just be who they actually are, that can be very difficult. And you know, I empathize with that. I really do. Because honestly, like I feel like, you know, the way the healthcare system is, big pharma and all this other stuff, they have so many different things going on where they exploit people with sicknesses like this. And a lot of times the drugs that they put them on literally deteriorate them even further. And, you know, you end up seeing a skeleton of who that person was, which is very sad. I remember with my grandmother on my father's side, you know, we had to watch her deteriorate, which was very sad. Granted, my understanding of that is a little bit because I was very young when she passed away. But, I hear my parents talk about my grandmother and things like that, how she was before she started getting sick. And that is something very tough to go through. Okay, that is something that's very, very tough to go through. So, you know.
So
Let's get into things that will change what will happen if you were to become president, say in the next 12 to 13 days. Polls suggest that voters trust President Trump, former President Trump, more on the economy.
Okay, here we go. Here we go with the Trump bad. Here we go with the Trump bad speech. Orange man bad.
What can you tell the voters, our viewing audience, our listening audience, that if you were to become president, while Madam VP Kamala Harris will be much better on the economy than what President Trump was?
Well, so I'm really glad you brought that up, Shannon. So first of all, let's clear up certain myths.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've been waiting to talk about this nigga for the longest. That's what she basically just said. I've been waiting to get on this orange man. I'm glad you brought me to this question. Thank you.
You know those checks that went out?
Yes. Those stimmies?
Right. Right.
Stimulus check.
Yeah, I know. Well, right. Yes. Yes.
Is there an audience, or is she doing this to literally nobody? I don't know how he films his show, but she going like this, like there's people there. Like, is there more than just the crew in this little setup? I don't know. I ain't heard a background laugh this whole time, but hey, I don't know. Maybe there's some people there, or maybe she's just talking to the staff that's recording the video. I don't know.
We got to be for stimulus, but they call them stimmies. Okay.
The reason those came about is because there was a Democratic majority in the House of Representatives and Congress. Mm-hmm. People like Maxine Waters, people like Hakeem Jeffries, right?
Yes.
Who did the work of pushing to say, people need help right now and we need to send out checks. There was a whole lot of opposition to it.
I don't like that $750 that you gave to the people that were affected by the recent hurricanes. And then now they're being denied for it, and the whole time it's a loan, and you got to pay it back. I don't think we want to get on the record of comparing the funds that went out during the Trump administration versus the loans that y'all are giving out now to people in dire need because of the hurricanes. Okay.
Including from Donald Trump's White House.
Yes, even him. I think he was resistant to it at first.
Yes. That's why those checks, remember, Congress holds the purse.
Yes.
So really, Congress wrote those checks. But then Donald Trump, unlike any president before or after, decided he put his name on those checks.
So therefore, people thought
Donald Trump gave me that check.
All this fake accent is giving me a headache. But look, y'all. I got the stimulus check. Wow, this happened when I was over there in China. I got the stimulus check. I ain't seen the check at all. It literally direct deposited into my account. I didn't see one signature. I just saw, hey, this money is now here in your account. That's all I saw. And it's just I really think that this is an insult to the American people to say that we only like Trump because we think he wrote us a check. As if we're too stupid to know that Congress is the one that gives out the money. Like, does this bitch really think that we're that stupid? I mean, granted, there are stupid people out there. Absolutely. But you're going to insult the voters by saying the only reason, or one of the main reasons we want Trump, is because he wanted his name on the check that most of us didn't even see because it was direct deposited. Girl, how does this even relate to the question? What was the question? The question was like, what are you going to do differently? How does this relate to doing something different? You're just not going to worry about putting your name on the check? Is that what we're talking about here?
And so let's clear that up first and foremost,
okay.
But let's also deal with where he was in terms of his policies on the economy. He gave the biggest tax cuts for billionaires and the biggest corporations. which caused an incredible deficit. He tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which we also call Obamacare.
I don't even think that's true. I don't think he tried to get rid of the Obamacare. I think he wanted a plan. He wanted something to replace it with, but because they didn't have one, they didn't get rid of it. At least that's my understanding of it.
Which benefited so many people, including and in particular.
Oh, and this is another thing. Not everybody was happy about Obamacare, right? Like, not everybody was happy about Obamacare because, and I can speak for at least my family, my mom was furious because it made her premiums go up. My parents are not rich by any means, but because of Obamacare, their premiums went up. You know, sucking more money out of the, I would say we grew up, maybe, I grew up in the middle class too, girl. Okay, girl. I grew up middle class too, girl. Yeah. Sis, come on now. Look, not everybody was happy with Obamacare. Not everybody was. The people that weren't, you know, receiving benefits, their prices went up because of it. And I mean, there's a conversation to be had, I guess, about the best way to do healthcare for everyone or be able to give everyone access to healthcare. But not every single person was happy with it because it caused people prices to go up. That's exactly what happened with my people. They had to pay more. We were already paying a lot with the modest living that we were having. Let me see. His policies. What about the sitting VP policies? Yeah. Because Trump been out of office. He's not in the office. If anything, you need to be talking about what you're going to do differently than Biden. Because, you know, Trump hasn't been in office. You and Biden have been. How are you going to move the needle forward? Turn the page, but you want to focus on page 2016 through 2019? Girl. Stop it. And what policy is that he puts his name on the check? Okay. And not midnight, sorry. Minutes before midnight, I got the direct deposit, but I also got the letter she's referring to. Big Daddy Trump right on the bottom of it. I framed it. That's funny. I didn't get my letter. Maybe I did and I just shredded it along with all the other junk mail I had by the time I got back from China. I don't know. But let's be serious here.
Black people in America who otherwise were denied by the insurance companies health coverage because of pre-existing conditions.
Yes, that's most important. Let the people know.
Right?
With a Affordable Care Act, if you have a pre-existing condition, insurance companies can no longer deny you coverage.
That's exactly right. And if you think about what that means.
So we're repping Obama's hard work and not talking about what we're going to do. Okay.
In the context of also knowing the big health disparities we have in the Black community.
Correct.
And how more likely, therefore, Black folks might be to have pre-existing conditions.
High blood pressure, diabetes,
all of
certain
that.
cancers.
All of that.
Yes.
Asthma for our children.
Yes. Sickle cell trait.
It's all of that.
Nuh-uh. No. Okay, what we not gonna do is have this bitch over here talking about sickle cell, anything, after what you did to Cherie Peoples and her daughter who had sickle cell. I will continue to bring up that story because that is one of the stories that mean the most to me as a mother. How dare you? How dare you? You talk about people with conditions, but you tried to lock this mother up because she was taking care of her child who had a condition, specifically sickle cell. Girl, get the fuck out of my face. No, ma'am. Absolutely not. You don't get to target a single mother because her child is chronically ill and then get your ass up here talking about some pre-existing conditions and this is what the healthcare can't do to you now. Well, what did you do to Cherie Peoples and her daughter who had sickle cell? You targeted them. So yeah, maybe they didn't have to worry about insurance companies denying them, but they sure as hell had to worry about you in your goddamn office charging this mother because her daughter was sick and couldn't go to school. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You don't get to sit around here toting around things that Obama did when you literally went after people who are vulnerable, especially when it comes to healthcare. No, absolutely not. Let's see. Yeah, exactly, Kyle Smith. We're not going to forget about that. We're not going to forget about what you did to Sheree Peoples and her daughter. Absolutely not. We're not going to forget about how you targeted single black mothers who were trying to do the best that they could with some BS truancy law. And that even after presenting evidence that her child was sick and chronically ill and always in the hospital due to sickle cell, you and your office continue to harass this woman for 2 years. No, we're not doing that. Absolutely not.
So by getting rid of the pre-existing condition ban, what that did, but he wanted to get rid of the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
What we have done, and part of my policies going forward include what we need to do to not only retain the cap that we got on insulin at $35 a month for seniors. By the way, black folks are 60% more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes.
Correct.
He wants to get rid of it with that Project 2025. Everybody.
He keeps saying he has nothing to do with Project 2025. Why y'all keep bringing it up? And first of all, Project 2025, if you actually read it, there are a lot of really good policies in there. But granted, he's not running on that. Granted, he's not running on that. And, you know, they use these little terms and stuff like that. Oh, Project 2025, you need to be worried about the Project 2025. Well, really, it's just a list of recommendations. And a lot of different organizations put out documents like that all the time. But for some reason, we got to be so worried about this one in particular. Stop it. Stop it. And you know, another thing that I really hate is that these politicians, what they'll do is they'll say, well, he wanted to strike down this policy. He wanted to strike down this. He wanted to strike down that. And then they'll give you the good highlights of that policy, what the policy does that's good, but they'll never tell you the BS that was written in the fine print. They won't tell you what's written in the fine print. They'll just be like, oh, well, he didn't want to do the immigration bill. Okay, well, what did that entail? What were all the things you were trying to pass within this one bill? Like, what people don't realize is that when you bring things to Congress and things like that, it has a name, right? And then there's a list of a bunch of different shit that goes under it. And sometimes it's completely unrelated to the title of the bill. So, yeah, I want to see every single line item, because I'm pretty sure I could figure out why we wanted to get rid of it. Or at least a logical reason of why we want to replace it with something better. But they love to hide behind this because they know that most people are just unaware. You know what I mean? Like, they're just unaware. They see the title of the bill, they see the key points of it, and they just don't understand that there are line items in there that could make something so destructive, despite there having some good things about it. So, you know, it's very sad. I blame our school systems. But, you know, my theory is that a lot of these government officials want the people of America to be dumb. That way they can pull shit like this. Okay? Tell you, well, he wanted to block this, but is that the reason why he wanted to get rid of it? Is it?
Everybody needs to check that out. What he would do to...
What's up, 18th letter? What's up? It's great to see me doing live streams. Yeah, I've been slacking on the live stream game. Okay, I'm very much so big front pregnant. I haven't been trying to do no dang blasted live stream in a very long time. Depending on how I feel after this video, because we're not even halfway through and we're just now, you know, starting to get to some policies and political talk. But, you know, depending on how I feel, I might run some Fortnite after this. I might have to, just one time for the one time. But yeah, it's good to see you back in the chat.
Get rid of Social Security, or at least raise the age to 70. So you'd have to work to 70 to be able to qualify.
Right.
Get rid of Medicare, get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And that's just on health policy, not to mention bringing back not only tax cuts for the richest people, but what he would do that is about eliminating or reducing the ability of corporations to be required to pay overtime.
Lies. That's absolute lies. All this bitch do is lie. No. What he's actually advocating for is to not tax your overtime. And see, this would have directly affected me, growing up. My dad, he worked a labor intensive job where you literally like have no control over whether or not you're going to do overtime or not. Because if you get hung up somewhere, you still have to get the job done. You can't just put it off until tomorrow. Like, you literally have to do it right then and there. And so my dad would be forced to do overtime. And you know what would happen? It would put him just ever so slightly into a new tax bracket. And literally all that money gets taxed. So all the money that he would have benefited from having the overtime is now heavily taxed. We're in a new tax bracket. And so my dad's literally losing money because of the tax on overtime, time and a half. Trump has literally talked about he wants to get rid of overtime taxes so that people can actually enjoy their money. When you work hard, you should be able to enjoy your money. You shouldn't have to worry about, is this going to put me in a new tax bracket? And then now I'm going to be taxed to high hell and now have even less money to bring back to my family. And even further than that, if you watch the Joe Rogan podcast, if you actually watch that interview, what he really says he wants to do is get rid of income tax altogether. That's what he would prefer to happen. He wants tariffs to literally pay for everything we need so we don't have to worry about income tax anymore. That's where he would like to get to. And guess what? We've done it before. We've already had a president where that was the case. There was a long time before we even had income tax. We didn't need it. We literally did not need it. So Trump wants to get us back to that point. And I don't know about you, but I would love to not pay no damn income tax. If I didn't have to pay no damn income tax, that would be litty lit, okay? So she is completely literally mischaracterizing every single thing that Trump has said he wants to do. He doesn't want to tax overtime. Step 1. Step 2, let's get rid of income tax altogether once we get our bread up from making these other countries pay up for wanting to sell their products here in America. That's what he really wants to do. Now, getting from point A to point B, that's going to be a lot of work. Because, we have a deficit and all this other stuff. That's going to be a lot of work. But let's be serious. We're not going to sit over here and lie about what this man wants to do just to get ahead. They literally have to lie, which is so disgusting.
Overtime pay.
So you could work and the corporations wouldn't have to pay you for it.
For overtime.
Lies.
You work for free.
That's right.
Absolute lies. The way it is now, you're literally working for free if you get put in a different tax bracket. That's how it is now. If you work just a little bit too much overtime, you get put in a different tax bracket. They're going to tax the hell out of your income, and all that work will be for nothing. You end up losing money. And that's an understanding that you would have if you were a regular schmegular person that has to deal with overtime, cutting into your, causing these issues for your taxes. But she don't have to worry about that. Shannon Sharp doesn't have to worry about that. So of course they don't understand it from the real person perspective. And again, lying. Trump never said that. He said he wants to get rid of the taxes on overtime, meaning you get to keep your money.
And overtime means you are actually working a longer day, which means you are more tired.
Right.
Which means it requires more exertion. That's why we have overtime pay. So you don't take advantage of workers. In addition to all of that,
overtime pay, like I said, is literally a way to take advantage of workers when you have the taxing system that we have. You work just a little bit too much overtime, your money's going to be taxed to all hell.
we're looking at Donald Trump, basically somebody who has never been understanding of the issues that affect the community about disparities. And I'm going to talk for
What? What? Sis, come on now. Come on now. He doesn't understand. But he brought up how black jobs are being attacked, how black communities are being attacked by the invasion that we're having from illegal immigrants. He doesn't understand though. He doesn't understand. He wants to get rid of taxes on tips, but he doesn't understand. You know, there is a conversation to be had about people with a lot of money making decisions for us when we don't have a lot. But it's not just in cases of Donald Trump. You know, the Obamas, they I will never get over that little clip that Michelle put out there recently where she was like, you know, if we're going to get through this, some people are going to have to give a little. Not from your multi-million dollar homes. I know you're not saying that while sitting in your multi-million dollar homes. Talking about what people need to give to you. Girl, what? All you elite mugs are sitting on hella dough, and I'm not mad at it. Okay, I'm not mad at rich people having their money. But if we want to talk about people not understanding the regular schmegular lived experience, I'm gonna need y'all to hold that mirror to everyone. Like, stop it. Just like the Beyonce endorsement. Girl, I'm here as a mother. Girl, the policies that this woman passes, unless we're talking about nuclear war, most of it is not going to affect you. the inflation that we're going through isn't affecting Beyonce and her children. They get to eat good every night. Completely detached. And that's every celebrity. Look, I don't give a good goddamn what celebrity stands up and says, I love Trump. I don't care. You're not the one who's really affected by this stuff. The only thing that I would say 100% affects you is nuclear war. Because if them bombs drop, we all dead. Period. But, you know, this whole thing that they love to hold over Donald Trump's head as if most of these people ain't millionaires, multi-millionaires, is just sick. It's absolutely sick.
For example, about how when he was a landlord, he denied rent to black families.
All right, this is another thing that I hate. This man owned a business and had property managers. I'm gonna need to see the memo or the voice clip or some kind of tangible evidence that he told the property managers not to rent to black people. Because when you look at people that own businesses, they're liable no matter what. Even if they have nothing to do with something, they're always going to be liable because it's their business. So what I think happened was he hired someone who was a fucking racist and took it upon themselves to not rent to black people. And when they got caught, oh, well, Trump said not to do it so they could take care of their own ass. That's what I think happened. Because even in the case, they admitted no fault when they settled. And when you have cases like that, you end up settling regardless. So it's like, settling doesn't mean you admit fault. And they didn't admit fault in the case. Because guess what? It was probably just a racist property manager making a judgment call on their own. And then when they get caught, blaming Trump because he's the owner. But I'm going to need to see the menu. I'm going to need to see the memo. Show me the receipts where Trump himself told these people not to rent to black people. Produce that evidence for me and then I will concede. I will concede and be like, yeah, that motherfucker was racist as hell back in the 80s. I will concede that point when you show me tangible evidence that he told them not to rent to black people. Until then, I believe that the property manager was a complete racist, did not want to rent to black people, and then when he got caught, blamed Trump because he wanted to save his own ass. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm. You look at what he did in terms of taking out a full-page ad in the New York Times against the Central Park Five, which were a bunch of, they're not young adults, they were teenagers, black and brown teenagers. Took out a full-page ad on in the New York Times calling for their execution.
Not true. Absolutely not true. Okay? When I tell you I actually read the ad and I actually looked into the context around that case, let me put y'all on some game. Okay? Let me put y'all on some game, and one day I'm going to actually bring up the ad that they keep referring to. Because the problem is they create these narratives and motherfuckers don't go read. They do not read. They do not look at context. They do not look to see what was happening around that time. They just go straight for, well, this person said, he said in the ad that these boys need to be murdered but they was innocent and he knew that they was innocent, but he still wanted them. That's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. If you go back to that time and you look at the different news outlets, everyone was saying how these boys was guilty. This was a big case. And they were being pursued like motherfucking crazy. Liberal news, conservative news, all the news was saying how they was guilty. And so imagine you're in your hometown, your home city, and you're constantly hearing cases about people being assaulted, SA'd, murdered, robbed, all these different things. And you see these cases and you're constantly bombarded with all this news about how your hometown, a place you grew up with, a place that you have a lot of love for, is just riddled with crime. Okay? Let's start there. You see this and you already have your feelings about the people who commit these crimes, the people who actually commit them. Because at the end of the day, crimes are being committed by somebody. They're not just randomly just spawning out of thin air unless somebody's making up a case. Most of the time, there's physical evidence that something wrong happened here. Okay? So you see all these things happening and you're like, why is it that people who commit these crimes, even when they're caught, they don't get a high enough sentence or a high enough punishment for the crime that they committed? Now, I'm a woman, okay? I'm a woman. If you're sexually assaulting people and you're R-ing people and all this other stuff, of the law of the land need to come down on that ass, okay? If you're out here murdering people, the law need to come down on that ass. And see, if you actually read the ad that he put out there, one of the first things he said was, it doesn't matter what your race is, you deserve to be safe in your community. I don't care if you're black, white, whatever the hell, you deserve to feel safe in your community. Yes or no? Is that a true statement or not? Yes or no? Do we not have a right to feel safe in our communities? I think we do. I think we do have a right to feel safe in our communities. And then when we get to the part where it's like, oh, he condemned them. Okay, look, he mentioned the case. He mentioned the case because that's what was heavy in the news. Context. That case was very heavy in the news and everyone was talking about how these boys were guilty. But he didn't say, hey, they are guilty. They deserve capital punishment. No, he said murderers and people who are folks need capital punishment. Now, if it's found out that they're not freaking guilty, which it was, then obviously he's not talking about them. He's talking about people who actually commit those crimes, that they deserve capital punishment. And he mentions the case as a grounding for, what sparked him to take out the ad. Even though he's been seeing these problems in his community, he's been seeing these problems in New York City. So it's like, is he literally going out there saying, well, they are definitely guilty and they need to die? That's not what the ad was. He mentioned the case to kind of ground it in, what was happening around that time. But the point is still the same. When you have people committing these crimes, there needs to be a higher punishment for it, because there's no way that we should have all these murders and sexual assaults and all this other stuff happening because the law isn't deterring him from doing it. They literally get like a slap on the wrist nowadays, especially in New York. Bruh, let's be serious. So if you want to say that the ad is racist, I'm gonna need you to actually read it and understand the context. Because he didn't say they were for sure guilty. He mentioned the case and was like, yeah, this is a case of da-da-da-da-da. And that was it. It was a footnote, damn near. But they just ran with that narrative that it was just this racist ad. And he was just like, yeah, kill the niggers. Like, no, that's not what he said at all. He said we deserve to feel safe in our communities from people that create these crimes. He didn't put a race on who does the crimes, okay? He did not put a race on it. He just said the people that do these crimes, there needs to be a higher punishment for them. And I agree. I absolutely agree. I don't give a good goddamn what your skin color is. If you're out here doing these crimes, the law needs to drop down on that ass. So, you know, people just, they fail to read and look at context, and then they run with these narratives, and then you have other people, they'll parrot the same narrative, but nobody goes back and actually reads. So that I'm gonna have to do a real breakdown of that and actually read the ad to some people, because reading comprehension is not is not a high level, like it's not a skill that a lot of people have these days, which is very sad. But that's gonna be something I have to do later on. But yeah, y'all, I'm so sick of that narrative. Like, and I'm quick to point out a racist, okay? I'm quick to point them racists out. But you're not going to pull the wool over my eyes when I can read, okay? When I can read and I can look at context. And I can understand without allowing emotion to corrupt my judgment. If you read things objectively, then you're able to figure out what's actually being said.
For crimes they did not commit, they were innocent. Donald Trump, who said of the first black president of the United States, the birtherism, to have people question whether he was born in the United States, to try and diminish. And then most recently,
I honestly don't see an issue with that either. Because if he wasn't born here, then what would we be saying then? If that was the case. Now, do I think he should have went hard in the paint like he did with that? No, not necessarily. But if someone's concerned about that, I think that's a real concern, because we have laws saying who can run for president and who cannot. And honestly, y'all don't want to know. Y'all do not want to know what my parameters for who should be able to run for president is, because a lot of these folks, or government positions at all, because a lot of these mofos, especially this Indian woman right here, she would not be qualified to run for president or any seat. You know what? Fine. I'll say it. I feel like you should be at least 3 generations deep of native born Americans before you start running for anybody's office here in America. That's how I feel. Because I can't take my little happy ass over to China and talk about I'm going to get into their politics. Even if I was born in China as a from black American parents, if my parents were vacationing in China while my mama was pregnant and then had me at a hospital in China, guess what? I still would not be considered a Chinese citizen. I wouldn't. And I have no issue with them locking down their country like that. I really don't. If you want to know how I really feel about it, how I really feel is you need to be 3 generations deep of naturalized, born on the soil citizen before you start running for government office or holding government jobs. That's how I feel. Because I heard a wild story the other day, y'all. A radical black conservative, she was talking about how she went to go get a passport for her daughter. And the person working the office, the clerk, barely spoke English. What? The person deciding whether or not I'm able to get a passport ain't even from here? Excuse me? We living in wild times, y'all. We live in wild times, and we need to tighten up. We need to tighten up, because the invasion is real. You have this person that's not a natural born citizen deciding whether my natural born ass gets a passport or not. That's crazy.
you look in this very election, legal black immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, saying they're eating their pets.
Why are they legal, Kamala? Why are they considered legal? Is it because they went through the processes that are already in place to be here legally by getting visas? Or did you guys just, wave your magic wands and then give them amnesty? You can make anything legal by skirting the system with your pen. Oh yeah, they have legal status because I gave them legal status. And look, whether or not you believe that this is something that's happening, the residents in that city are saying it's happening. And that's why I prefer this new age of media. And I said this in the Ab and Preach video. I prefer it because the people on ground zero, okay, the people living through it, the people in the areas that are affected are able to tell their stories and capture evidence, video evidence of what's going on. So I'm not going to laugh at what my fellow Americans are going through when they say that that's what they're going through. If you tell me that you have all these people that have flooded your city and are draining the resources, making things more difficult, for instance, hospitals, you try to go to the hospital and it's packed because there's so many people there. Your community centers are literally closing up so they can house folks. Like, I can understand how that would be traumatizing. I would hate to see that in my hometown from where I grew up. I would hate to see it deteriorate in such a way. But, leave it to the people in charge, the people that are the elite, to laugh at, which is exactly what she did. She laughed at all the Springfield residents that were complaining about this. She laughed at them because it sounds so outrageous, but it could very well be possible. And folks are video, taking video of the things that are happening in their city, and they're putting it online, and we're able to see firsthand what other Americans are going through.
So so part of what we have to help people understand is don't think you're in Donald Trump's club. You're not.
Right.
He's not going to be thinking about you.
He's not going to be thinking about you. This Blackson is literally giving me a stomach ache.
You think he's having you over for dinner?
Are you having us over for dinner, bitch? You gonna give me some curry goat? You gonna make me some curry goat, Kamala? Is this an invitation for dinner over at your house? For some naan and some roti and some buttered chicken? Is that what this is? You invite me over, sis?
You think that when he's with his buddies, his billionaire buddies, he's thinking about what we need to do to deal with addressing, for example, my work around what I'm doing to address disparities in black men?
My work around what I'm doing to girl. Girl.
Men's health, around colon cancer, around what we need to do around screenings, what we need to do around prostate cancer. Black men are twice as likely to have, and screenings. What we need to do to address.
I'm a survivor of prostate cancer.
Right. You know what I'm talking about.
Do. Go James and the Lakers.
Another ad. Skip through that. This is just a whole interview to pander to black people, as if we're the only people in the nation. That's what this is. Whereas the interview with Joe Rogan and Trump, it was about everybody. It wasn't just about, let me talk about this one group. It was about everybody and the issues that affect all of us. The pandering is so disgusting at this point. And yes, like, comment, subscribe, share. If you don't want to subscribe, you don't want to share because you don't like my ass, at least leave a hate comment, okay? We have fun over here. I love a good roast. And if you say something funny, I'll laugh at it. We love good comments over here. We don't care if it's pro Sandra or anti Sandra. I don't give a damn. And I don't remove comments, okay? Unless you were to say something real out of pocket about like my child or something like that, I'm not going to remove comments. You know what I'm saying? Which I haven't seen nobody do that, which is good. Okay? Which is good. Leave the babies out of it. But, I don't care. If you dislike the video, by all means, let me know why. And we can, depending on how you come. If you come with that energy of talking trash, understand I will talk that trash right back. But if you do come with some, genuine energy to want to discuss things, we can have that as well. I'm not just going to start, popping off on everybody, but if you come at me sassy, you get the response that you get, okay? I match energy, so how we acting today?
Specific things you would like to do to keep it, because the economy seems to be heading in the right direction, but the inflation, gas prices are extremely high, groceries are extremely high, this rent, I mean, it used to be when I was renting, they moved the rent up $40 a year. Now they're moving it up $400.
So let's talk about that. I'm glad you raised that. So, for example, groceries, yes, the prices are still too high. You know it, I know it.
Yeah.
Part of my plan is to deal with price gouging. I did it when I was Attorney General. I'm going to do
price gouging? That's why the prices are high. Price gouging. How many companies are price gouging to the point where that's the direction that we need to go in for the prices? I would speculate that the prices are very high because of the taxes and all the regulations on gas and energy. If it's going to cost more to deliver these products to and fro, then it's going to cost more in the grocery store when you go to pick it up because it costs more to get it there. So, or it costs more, to produce it because, a lot of these things, energy is the focal point of why the prices are high.
Do it as president, which is these companies that will jack up the prices of groceries to take advantage of people in need, and in particular during a crisis, like what
Like
you
the
see around
pandemic.
the pandemic or Hurricane Helene.
Yes.
So this price gouging thing is only really happening when there's a natural disaster. But then what about the rest of us? Our prices are too damn high now. Wait, why is a box of cereal $7? A regular schmegular, not organic, just regular schmegular Kellogg's. Why is that box $7 damn? Why? What in the world is this? Like, girl.
Milk.
Right?
Yes.
Milton, right? So there's that. In terms of housing, first of all, we know that black families are 40% less likely to own their home. And we can go back to redlining. We can go back to policies that were by law or practice meant to not give black folks equal opportunity to home ownership, especially in certain neighborhoods. We can go back to what happened around the GI Bill.
Yeah.
And when all those, the great generation we call them, came back, and there was federal policy to say, you all fought for our country, we're going to give you a boost around helping you buy homes. But those black
Let's talk about what's really stealing homes from people. Goddamn property tax. This was a very big issue. I've seen it happen in areas that get gentrified, right? So what they'll do is they'll build a Whole Foods down the street and then raise the property taxes of all those people that have been living there. And so your grandmother who, is on Social Security, only has like a limited amount of funds and is accounted for the amount of property tax that they've been paying. Now, because of the Whole Foods and the Starbucks down the street, their property tax done went up, and then the government comes in and steals their home because they can't pay for the property tax because it's too damn high. And they've already paid off their home. They're literally just paying property tax and, regular upkeep and all that other stuff. But because of the property tax and how they just willy-nilly just take it up or take it down or whatever, mostly just going up, they're able to just literally steal people's homes. I saw this one outrageous story where this guy was off by like $8 and they came and kicked him out of his house. I think he was able to get that reversed, but still, what the actual hell? If you want to talk about people not being able to keep their homes, because there are a lot of black people that have owned their home and it was stolen from them because of property taxes and things like that, other shady practices. So if we really want to have an honest conversation about that, that's where we need to start. Talking about how these fucking property taxes are predatory, extremely predatory on the black community.
black servicemen, and it was mostly men, those black servicemen did not. So you had then a time when there was a boost for, it ended up being not for black service members. So part of my policy is to, one, create a fund so that we will give a $25,000 down payment to first-time homeowners.
First-time homeowners. And that means if your grandmother owned her home at any point in time, you do not qualify. So basically, like every American that already has roots here, most of the time we're just not going to qualify. How does that benefit us? It doesn't benefit us. It benefits the people that are migrating here legally and illegally. It benefits them, and by a very little, because guess what? People are going to start raising the prices of homes by $25K. Oh, y'all got $25K to spend? Okay, so this house that was actually $200,000, I'm gonna start charging $225,000 so I can get that little check and still get the other monies that I was already planning on getting. We know how corrupt these systems are. You're telling them, oh, there's an extra this much money? Okay, so that's how much I'm going to charge you. It's ridiculous to me. And that's the problem with folks not reading the fine print. Because you look on there, you see, oh yeah, $25,000 for a house, but then you realize you don't fucking qualify. Mostly immigrants, legal and illegal, are going to be the ones qualifying for that loan. Not you and I, even though, we don't own a home, at least not yet. Maybe you don't own your home, you're in an apartment, you've never owned a home, but your parents may have, your grandparents have, and now you don't qualify. It's insane.
To just help people get in the door. We will deal with the rent issue because part of what we're seeing in Atlanta, in places across our country, is these corporations are buying up all these properties, which means then that they don't have to deal with competition between the properties and they're jacking up rent costs. So it's about also going after that corporate gouging around what they're doing to buy up and then jack up the prices of rent. We also need to help people with small business ownership. I did, even before I was running for president, a tour, I called it the Opportunity Economy Tour, focused on black men and black entrepreneurs. What we know is, unlike Donald Trump, who got $400 million.
And yeah, you're right. She isn't wrong about, corporations buying homes. It's true. I knew about that problem back when I was still in China. I saw that happening a lot during COVID. Okay, yeah, she just talking to the movie. That is a big issue. These corporations, I don't think they should be allowed to buy regular homes. There needs to be more regulation on that. But do I trust her to get that done? No, I don't.
Handed to him practically on a silver platter. And by the way, Shannon filed for bankruptcy 6 times.
Okay, I also hate this narrative, right? That somehow if you file for bankruptcy, then that should be a tell of like you being a failure. Most companies at some point or another file for bankruptcy. People with a lot of money, a lot of assets, and all these other different things, they use bankruptcy to keep their money. You know what I'm saying? And people like Kamala use this type of language to prey on those of us that haven't built anything. Right? They use this type of language to prey on us because people that are in the corporate world, they understand what bankruptcy is there for. It's a tool. And a lot of these people that have major money, not affected by inflation and things like that, because they got this mass amount of wealth, they understand bankruptcy law and how to use it as a tool. So, this whole thing of, well, he got this much money on a silver platter, da 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 da. Bitch, you grew up privileged too. The fuck? Like, you grew up privileged too. How dare you try to speak like you one of us? You not. You grew up privileged just the same. Didn't you have house servants back in Jamaica? I ain't grow up with no damn house servant. I was the house servant. My mom was telling me to go wash them dishes. I was the cleanup. I was the help. Me and my sister. So look, you not gonna get me with this, oh well, he had $400 million and then he bankrupted. I know what it takes to build something. I've done research on it. And it's like people that build understand bankruptcy and how to use it as a tool. So and furthermore, how dare you take stabs at people that go through adversity to get to where they're going? Right? Because, you make fun of the fact that he filed for bankruptcy, but what about these other small businesses that literally have to go through those same trials and tribulations, losing money, getting money, losing it again? So what we're doing now is we're going to, shame people for falling and getting back up. That's what we're doing. I think people really need to take a look at like what's actually being said here and how disrespectful it is to people that work hard to build. Okay, a lot of these companies, if you look at them, a lot of them file for bankruptcy regularly. A lot of these rich folks, they file for bankruptcy regularly. They use it as a tool. And so for her to try to use that as some kind of dig at him is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And it shows how little you know about struggle. Now, I'm not saying that Donald Trump went through this amazing struggle and things like that. But what I am saying is him filing for bankruptcy is not the dig that you think it is, because regular schmegular people going through their everyday lives are having to use these different, tax laws and all these different things to try to get themselves back up. no, bankruptcy is bad. Yeah, I mean there are things that go with bankruptcy. Like if you really look into what bankruptcy is, it's a tool. It's literally just a tool. And yeah, it comes with some things that you have to deal with, right? It's not just this amazing thing that you get to do. It does come with some baggage, but if you're able to work the system in a good way, you're able to make it work for you and help keep money in your pockets, so to speak. So it's like, I'm not going to sit back here and look at somebody because they've gone through different struggles with their businesses and now they have very successful businesses and be like, well, you ain't ish because you did this, this, and this, and you this failed and that failed. The path to success is riddled with failure. It just is. And anyone that has built something knows that to be a fact.
Everybody wants to say he's a great businessman. Take a look at his record. I know that so many of our entrepreneurs who have great ideas don't have access to capital, but they have serious work ethic, great ideas, and a plan to do the work. So part of my plan is to increase access to capital, including giving $20,000 forgivable loans for startup capital for people to buy the equipment.
Right.
And
I want to see the fine print. Who qualifies for that? I want to see the fine print because I don't trust your ass. And I don't trust anybody. I want to see the fine print.
then to change the tax deduction, so whereas it is now $5,000 to make it $50,000 to start a new business, because nobody can start a new business on $5,000. And the direct benefit, when we're looking at Black entrepreneurs,
That's not true. People can start businesses with $5,000. You can start with $5,000. There's a lot of people that start with zero and then they turn it into something great. So that's not necessarily true.
is profound. And all it is about saying this. Americans in general, regardless of their race or gender, we have ambition, we have aspirations, we have dreams, but not everyone has access to the opportunity that lets them actually accomplish that. I want to increase access to opportunity.
Listen, unfortunately,
Another ad. Okay.
make sure Social Security benefits continue because there are reports that it could possibly be depleted by 2033. And there are estimated that 11,000 people turn at least 65 years of age every single day.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to make sure, because that, people, disabilities, retirement, survivors with beneficiaries, what are you going to do to make sure that that continues?
So, Shannon, to your point, there was an independent economic review of Donald Trump's plan, which shows that.
What are you going to do? Well, Donald Trump, he asked you what you going to do. He didn't ask about what Donald Trump going to do. He asked what you going to do. Well, Donald Trump.
Social Security in the next 6 years would be insolvent under his plan, meaning that it would not be able to pay out what hardworking people who deserve dignity in their retirement deserve. And as you and I both know, there are a lot of our seniors who their only source of income is that Social Security check.
That's correct.
Right? It's the only way they're going to pay the rent or have food on the table. So my plan is about doing what we need to do to put the resources back into Social Security, but also expanding it. Because here's part of the problem with Social Security is that for our aging seniors, if they are a couple, for example, and one of the spouses passes, that cuts their Social Security benefits almost in half. So part of my plan is to reconfigure it so that that surviving spouse does not then have a crisis where they've already lost their loved one.
Reconfigure it. What does that mean? Where are you going to get this money from? You haven't explained where you're going to get the money from. I'm going to reconfigure it. How? Where is this money going to come from? You're not explaining to me how you're going to actually fix the problem. Well, we just need to reconfigure it. How?
But we also just have to understand on a macro level, we've got to require that billionaires and corporations pay their fair share, right? They can afford to. And that's part of what is the difference between me and Donald Trump. My plan is about tax cuts for small businesses, for working people, for middle-class people. 100 million Americans will benefit around tax cuts. My plan is that no taxes will be raised for anybody making less than $400,000 a year. My plan is that we give young parents a $6,000 child tax credit to help them pay for child care, for a crib or a car seat, because you and I both know the vast majority of our young parents have a natural desire to parent their children well, but not always the resources.
Yeah, and that's why you advocate for them to just, yeetus fetus. Bruh. Look, all this talk, but you're not going to tell us where the money coming from. And you tell me like, oh, we're going to tax the rich. We're going to tax the rich. They've been saying tax the rich for so long. But what they fail to let the regular schmegular people know is that these people that have all this money, they also have lawyers that can work around the taxes. They also have money in offshore accounts that isn't going to be taxed. So it's like all these words are just empty. I'm going to tax the rich. It's an empty promise, because those same rich people, they have access to folks that can get them around these different taxes and stuff, so they don't have to pay them as high. So it's like all this talk is bull, right? It means nothing, because she knows, just like I know, all her rich friends are going to be just fine. They're not going to get taxed higher. And that's why a lot of these celebrities and stuff like that, they'll be like, I don't mind paying higher taxes. Whole time they got the best tax lawyer in town. Whole time they got their money in an offshore account. They're not worried about this, because they know that they can give you lip service. And you'll hear this, yeah, tax cuts for the poor, tax the rich. They know you're going to hear that, but not really realizing what's actually happening behind the scenes. Is they got great tax lawyers. They not paying them motherfucking taxes. Even if they put it on paper, she knows, just like I know, her and her rich friends are going to be fine, because they know how to get around those taxes. They have the financial literacy, or they can pay somebody with the financial literacy to get them out of those taxes. So they can raise them as much as they will. But guess who isn't going to be able to get from underneath those taxes? Regular schmegular people that don't have access to the best tax lawyer in town. They don't realize that there are a lot of taxes they shouldn't have to pay, but they're paying anyways because they don't know how to use the system yet. That's how it really breaks down. So she could say that all day, but her and her richer friends are going to be just fine. They got the best tax lawyers in town. They're going to be fine. They know how to get through the loopholes and hide their money.
And back to the way I was raised.
Donald Trump included. His bag is going to be fine.
I know that the children of the community are the children of the community.
You know what, guys? The children of the community are the children of the community. Americans, they're Americans. What is this? Bruh, this has to be one of her best sayings. The children of the community are the children of the community. So deep. That sounds like something that they would have on the, those different memes that they have from the deep from was it The Boys, where he's saying something and they trying to act like it's super deep. The children of the community are the children of the community. It's like one of those memes. This can't be real life. Water is wet. Exactly. That
you and I will benefit from that young family having the resources they need.
No, like the resources Cherie Peoples needed that, you stole from her by prosecuting her because she has a child that is chronically ill. I'm never going to stop bringing that up. As a mother, I'm disgusted by that. But now you want to get your ass up here and talk about how you care about people and their situation and how they need resources. What about Cherie Peoples and how your office attacked her and her daughter, her chronically ill daughter, for 2 years, during which time she lost her job, lost her home? What about the resources she needed? Because you sure as hell didn't need to be prosecuted, which is what you did. You and your office did. And you laughed about it, too.
So it's about all of us benefiting, but it's a state of mind and it's a perspective. Mine is about thinking about the challenges people face and getting them help. Donald Trump is full-time focused on himself. You watch his rallies.
Focus on himself? Yeah. Yeah, he's so focused on himself by saying he doesn't want to tax overtime. He's so focused on himself by saying he doesn't want to tax tips. He's so focused on himself that he wants to try to avoid nuclear war as much as possible. Yeah, that nigga is just so self-centered and narcissistic. He is just all about himself. All his policies are make Trump great again. Stop. Just stop.
He will spend full time talking about, I was going to say Freddy Krueger, Hannibal Lecter. Might as well be Freddy Krueger. Hannibal Lecter. Mm-hmm. He'll spend full time talking about his grievances, about what everyone has done to him. He'll talk about himself, but he does not talk about the American people.
Lies. That's just factually untrue. If you listen to any of his speeches, that's literally just factually untrue. Lies.
He does not talk about what he's going to do for middle class. He does not talk about what he's going to do for families, for working people. And we're 12 days out. This is probably one of the most serious elections that we have faced in our lifetime. My perspective, and I will be the kind of president who spends full time focused on the needs of the people. That has been my career.
Bitch, ain't you the same one that disappeared for 3.5 years and only popped your head out when they were like, yeah, we gonna get Biden up out of here so you can run? Ain't you the same bitch that everyone was like, where's Kamala? After the election, like, where's Kamala? Hey, have you seen Kamala? Do we need to do a wellness check? Is she okay? But you gonna be so committed to the American people? Okay, girl. Okay.
I have spent my whole career as a public servant.
What public did you serve when you were withholding evidence that could exonerate black men in California? What public were you serving when you were keeping people incarcerated well past their release date? What community were you serving then?
Trying to uplift the condition of other people, knowing what is possible and doing it with a sense of optimism. On January 20th, a new president is going into the White House. Mm-hmm. Period. A new president is going into the White House.
Thank you for that, Kamala. Thank you. Because we were still unsure. We were like, maybe Biden will win. Yeah, we were very, very unclear about there being somebody new in the office. Somebody other than Biden. We were just so unclear about that point. Thank you for clearing that up. This is only halfway through. I don't know if I can handle this much brain rot. I'm just... Bruh. I don't know if I can handle this much brain rot.
Do you want to look at the Oval Office and see a Donald Trump who's going to be sitting there filling out his enemies list, spending full time figuring out retribution and revenge?
Did I miss something? Did I miss the part in history where Hillary Clinton got locked up? Did I miss that? Did she serve her time already? Is she released yet? When did Trump lock up Hillary? Oh, yeah, he said he wasn't actually going to do nothing like that because of how bad that would actually look for the country. Yeah, he actually never did any of that. He didn't lock her up or pursue cases against her. Okay. Sure, Jan. Sure, that's exactly what he's going to do.
Or looking at the Oval Office and knowing you have a president in there who's creating a to-do list that's about what to do to help the American people.
So you're going to create your to-do list while you're in office. You haven't already done that. I mean, that would make sense for why it took forever and a day to get your fucking policies on your website. I remember I was checking her shit every day, and all it was doing was asking me for money and telling me who she was and who Waltz was. There was no policy plan up there until maybe a few weeks ago. Maybe a month. I don't know. But yeah, that makes sense that you're going to be finally doing your to-do list of what you're going to do, since you spent most of your campaign talking about how bad Donald Trump is. Bruh. Okay. Or is that to-do list gonna, finally flesh out what configuring Social Security is gonna be? What that actually means? What that actually looks like?
So raising minimum age of Social Security, that's not on the table for you.
No, no. Look, people work hard all their lives. And they deserve to be able to retire with dignity. I'll tell you how I come at this. I come at it from a number of perspectives, including thinking about how I was raised in terms of how you take care of the elders, right? I think about it in terms of taking care of my mother when she was sick and dying from cancer. So one of my policies, for example, is to help Medicare pay for home health care for seniors. Why? Because look, I did it, and it means, trying to cook for an elder, to make something they feel like eating, right? To help them put on a sweater. And we have so many people who are in the sandwich generation. They're raising their young kids and taking care of their parents. And either they have to deplete their savings to qualify for Medicaid, right? To be able to help pay for home health care, or they have to quit their job to do the work of taking care of their kids and their parent. And I just believe that's not right, that we should have policies that give people dignity, especially our seniors. So my plan is Medicare pays for home health care.
Okay.
And no, I would not raise the age of eligibility for Social Security, because the same thing, we shouldn't.
I'm going to look for the evidence where he actually said he wants to raise the age. Because the only person I actually heard saying that was, I think Ben Shapiro, who doesn't hold the office at all. He just, runs his mouth online like everybody else. The only person I think I've ever heard actually say that was Ben Shapiro, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong, because I don't know if I've heard him speak on that yet. But I will look it up.
Force people to work until they're 70 in order to retire and have a moment to just enjoy their life and not worry about how they're going to pay their rent.
Is Medicare for all a priority for you?
What is a priority for me is making sure that access to health care is a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. That's why I am in favor of and have pushed and been a leader on capping the cost of insulin at $35 a month. And why I intend to allow Medicare to actually negotiate against the big pharmaceutical companies to bring down the cost of prescription medication for everybody. That's why I have fought for what we need to do around making sure Medicare covers senior care.
I fought for what we need to do. And what is that, actually? What are the actions being taken? I fought for what we need to do. Like what? What are we doing?
Access to health care should not be a question of how much money you have in your back pocket. That's just not right. And I feel strongly about that.
Blacks for Trump. They feel that Trump is better for the black community. Can you explain Donald Trump's history with blacks? Where did this come that all of a sudden, it's been like this? Because a lot of people used to say,
I fought for what we need to do. Has me think we need to revisit the English language in America. That's funny.
Donald Trump or the ghetto, because he was, for a lot of blacks, not all, but for some blacks, he was, Madam VP, whether we want to admit it or not, he's revered by some blacks.
But here's the thing. The question for everybody, should he be president of the United States?
Okay.
Right?
Well, no shit, Sherlock. We're in an election season. Was you just not realizing that that's the whole point of an election season, is to figure out who we want in office? Okay.
That's the question. Should he have the ability to sit behind the seal of the President of the United States when he says he wants to terminate the Constitution of the United States?
He never said that. What he literally said, and it was a tweet. It was either on Truth Social or it was a tweet. His actual statement was basically saying, look, these people are fraudulent, and when you have a history of fraudulence, that basically makes the Constitution null and void if you're constantly doing things that skirt the Constitution. And he said that this is not what the Founding Fathers wanted. That I wish I could put, you know what, I might do a separate video, or maybe I'll put up the quote on here when I do my little, when I pull smaller videos from this big ass live stream. But if you look at the actual, thing that she's referencing to, he did not say anything about getting rid of the Constitution. He didn't. He simply said that if you have a lot of fraudulent acts that undermine the Constitution, that's going to open the floodgates for more fraudulent acts against the Constitution. That's literally what the statement said. It was very clear to me. Justin read it, we both read it, and came to the same conclusion that that's what he meant. So it's like, these people, they love to say this stuff, but then they know most people are not going to read the source material to see what is actually being said and deduce for themselves. They'd rather just hear talking points from other people instead of just going and reading for themselves. So, like I said, when I do the little edits for this video, I'll probably pull it up and put it on the screen so everybody can read it. But the overall arching message in that tweet or Truth Social post or whatever was, if you continue to skirt the Constitution, it opens the door for more fraudulent acts to happen against the Constitution, and that's not what the Founding Fathers had envisioned. Period.
You know what that would mean? In the Constitution of the United States is your Fourth Amendment right against unreasonable search and seizure, your Fifth Amendment right, your Sixth Amendment right to an attorney.
Well, a lot of rights going to be gone. The First Amendment.
But the First Amendment, the Second Amendment.
Yes.
Look, I'm in favor of the Second Amendment. I don't believe we should be taking anybody's guns away.
If you are watching the actual, clip that I'm going to pull from this live stream, I'm going to insert a clip of her telling, well, it's going to be over here. I'm going to insert a clip of her saying how she going to get our guns. Bruh, there's literally videos of her saying that she's gonna, I should have watched this interview beforehand. Right now I'm just giving you guys my raw reaction. I should have watched it beforehand so I could have all the clips ready of her saying the exact opposite of what she's saying right now. You can literally find clips, and I will insert them when I, pull a clip for this live stream to post up, of videos of her literally saying she wants to come up in your house and take your guns, even if you're a legal gun owner.
He wants to terminate the Constitution of the United States. He is the same one, like I said earlier, who denied rent to black families.
Prove it. Show me the memo. Show me the voice recording of him saying that he doesn't want his property managers selling or renting to black people. Prove it. Because even in the lawsuit, they settled it without admitting fault. Prove it.
Who took out that full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of those children.
No, he called for the execution of people who are arring people and murdering folks. Now they're found not guilty. So does that mean they still apply to them? No. At the time, all media was saying that they were guilty. But the overarching statement wasn't really about them. It was about people who commit those crimes and how the capital punishment should be applied to those people that commit those crimes. Look, y'all, bruh. I'm literally getting a headache. I'm gonna need some Advil or whatever the safe option is for pregnancy, for this headache that I'm getting, because it's literally just is really bothering me. All these lies, blatant lies, and they rely on the fact that most people are not going to go to the source material and read and deduce for themselves. It's very predatory at this point.
Who birtherism accusations against the first black president. Not to mention please ask folks to Google Project 2025.
Which he has nothing to do with. Which is just a list of recommendations made by different groups. And this is not something that's new. Organizations put out recommendations like this all the time, but they just latched on to it because it sounded scary. Project 2025. But companies and conglomerates, they put out things like this all the time. Most of the time you don't hear about them because nobody gives a shit. But because they want to fearmonger, they're going to keep bringing it up because they know everyone's ears goes up when they hear Project 2025. Sounds like some science fiction shit. Like some shit from a dystopian world. Like it sounds like some crazy shit. But really, There are a lot of actually, and I haven't read the whole thing, but I have read some of it, and there are actually some pretty decent policies that are in Project 2025, which is so fucking funny to me. That is something that I want to go through, but that thing long as hell. That document is long, and I'm sure there are things in there that I agree with and things that I disagree with, but it's not this big old boogeyman that they're trying to make it out to be. They're just fear mongering.
Yeah.
He would get rid.
Hey, what's up, Vicky? Sandra, I pray your pregnancy goes well and you do not need what? I pray your pregnancy goes well and you do not need help and a doctor will not help you. Uh, thank you. Thanks, I guess. Folks are funny. Um, okay. And thank you. I hope my pregnancy continues to go well as well.
Rid of the $35 a month cap on insulin. We know how many of our seniors had it. I'll give you another example of why Donald Trump has not earned the support of folks to be president of the United States again.
Girl, stop. Not the bitch that skirted the primaries talking about earning the position. I'm pretty sure the Republican Party voted in the primaries and selected him. He was voted into that position. Bitch, you were appointed into that position. The Democrats didn't get to vote. They didn't get any choice. Their choice was supposed to be Biden because he's the incumbent. But you just moseyed your ass on into that, even though when you did run, nobody voted for your ass. So not you saying who earned and didn't earn what. Not the same heifer that gave that Gok 3000 to a married Willie Brown to get their first job. Like, no, you don't get to say that. You don't get to say that.
When he was president the last time, during the height of COVID, 1 in 3 Black Americans knew somebody who died from COVID. You remember those days?
I do.
And people couldn't get their hands on a COVID test? At that very same time, Donald Trump as president secretly sent COVID tests to the president of Russia for his personal use. While Americans were dying every day, he has not earned the right.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on COVID. It was the Biden administration that made those mandatory vaccine things. It was his administration that allowed companies to say, if you don't get vaxxed, you're getting fired. And I have family that was directly affected by that. I know someone who was pregnant at the time, and they were basically trying to force her to get the vaccine. You want this pregnant woman to take this untested vaccine, or else she loses her income. Y'all allowed that to happen, not Trump. It wasn't Trump that made that happen. It wasn't Trump that made all the small businesses close down while you allowed Walmart and McDonald's to stay open. No, we're not going to rewrite history. Absolutely not. We are not rewriting history.
To be president of the United States. It's one thing if he has a television show that's very popular. He can put his name on a building. Even though we all know he was not a terribly good.
We did lose our favorite restaurants. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, Rizla, you didn't know? Yeah, we're having a baby boy. So we're literally going to have like a perfect little boy and girl situation. We'll have one of each. But yeah, I'm like 6 months pregnant, something like that. I'm due like sometime in January. But usually they say your second pregnancy comes early while your first pregnancy is late. And Bella was late as hell. She was very late. But thank you. See, it's gonna be that, Rizza. We having a junior. And I hope that our son comes out looking just like Justin, because Bella stole my face and made upgrades. I'm gonna need him to experience that same thing. I need Justin to experience somebody stealing his face and making upgrades. Because that's what I've been going through with my daughter. She looks just like me, just better. She's so freaking cute. I love my baby. I'm gonna go cuddle my baby after this. I can hold her. But yeah, we're having this little baby boy. He was a surprise. He was a surprise. We were not trying to get pregnant, but when you do grown folk things, grown folk outcomes happen. And so yeah, we're having a little baby boy. I remember we left the doctor's office with our jaws on the floor because I went to the doctor, and this is a little tangent, you know, the weave. I had went I had went to the doctor because I was having pains around my C-section scar, and I was like, what the hell is this? It's almost a year. You know, this was right before Bella's birthday. I was like, this has almost been a year. Why am I now having pains around my C-section scar? Like, that's weird. And so we end up going to the doctor because we want to make sure it wasn't like a hernia or something else. And she was like, you know, can't really, you don't have a hernia. You don't really have this. You have some keloid scarring, but that usually doesn't cause pain in that way. And then she was like, you know what? Let's just do a pregnancy test just to see. And me and Justin were like, yeah, okay, we'll do the pregnancy test. It's no big deal. We're not pregnant. Y'all, she came back and said, congratulations. I was like, congratulations for what? Me and Justin, we were on the floor. We were like, oh. So the whole time, all that pain I was experiencing was just round ligament pain. And I guess I got those pains early on because I had a C-section. So it's like, you know, life be lifing. And you know, you at first you're just very shocked, and honestly, I'm still shocked, even though I'm walking around with the evidence every day. I'm waddling everywhere, but you know, life happens, and I'm excited to have a son. I'm excited to see what his little face gonna look like. I'm excited to see what his personality gonna be like, because Bella has one hell of a personality. So I'm just like, you know, I love motherhood. So I'm excited for him, just as excited for Junior. We're all very excited, and thank you so much. Let's see. You said Dayton said that's cool. You have one of each. Congratulations, thank you. You said congrats, and now there's going to be sibling Christmas and holidays. I know, right? I keep imagining what it's gonna be like when Bella sees her brother for the first time. Like, I've been trying to get her to try to understand, because she's not really speaking too much right now. Like, I feel like she knows some words because she be whispering them on the low, but she's not really conversing with us, like, back and forth yet. So I've been trying to kind of teach her, like, hey, baby brother, by, like, putting her hands on my belly, and putting her hands on my belly, and then, like, you know, saying baby brother. And, you know, she'll hug my belly and she'll kiss it and be like, oh, you know. So I'm not, yeah, Sandra on that weave. And, you know, she'll hug my belly and she'll kiss my belly. And, you know, it's just the cutest thing. I don't know how much of it. Like, I've showed her pictures of herself, like, when I was pregnant with her. And I've been, like, pointing to the belly and been like, baby Bella, like, trying to get her to understand, like, you were in there. You know, pictures from our baby shower. And, you know, now trying to point to my son and be like, baby brother, like, you have a baby brother in here. I don't know how much of it she understands, but I am so excited for that moment where she sees her little brother, and just to see what she's going to do. Because some babies, they get a little territorial, and then other babies are very affectionate to each other. So I don't know. We go see. Hopefully she's affectionate. It would be the cutest thing if she walks up and then gives the baby a hug and a kiss. That would be so freaking cute. And I'm going to definitely get it on camera. Because if that happens, man, that would just melt my soul. Yeah, that's how you do it. Show her pictures. That's what my sister did with my niece. Now she knows. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. And so I'm going to weave it back to the interview. Let's get back, because we still got a little bit ways to go. And this stream is already 2.5 hours. Whew. I'm going to need a back rub after this. I'm definitely need a back rub.
Good businessman, which is why he filed for bankruptcy 6 times. But that is one thing. To be president of the United States means to try and find common ground.
Okay, wait a damn minute. This ain't the same bitch that was telling people to go to the rally down the street because they were saying things she didn't like. Where's the common ground there? You weren't trying to have common ground with those people. You just wanted to preach to the choir. So wait a damn minute. You can't talk about somebody else being divisive when the president, the person that you're under, Biden, literally called Trump supporters garbage. Now, granted, she didn't say that; he did, but she hasn't condemned it either, from my knowledge. Maybe she has since condemned it, and if so, then I'll eat my words. But you can't call someone else out for the very thing that you're doing. You literally tell people, I'm speaking, when they're trying to voice their concerns about Palestine and Israel. You can't say that you care about what people are going through and all this other stuff when they shout something out at your rallies and you don't like it and you say some slick ass comment to them. It don't work like that, Chief.
To build consensus, to lift up the American people instead of trying to beat people down all the time. It means solving problems, which means you have to be able to get out of your own head and scan to be concerned about the well-being of other people and then do something about it. Does anyone think Donald Trump thinks that way?
I actually do. You want to know why? Because he wants to keep us away from nuclear war as much as possible. I think he gives a good goddamn about that because he said it in the Joe Rogan interview, and it makes sense with his record. The reason why he was being cordial with the countries that we would most likely go to World War III with. That was a tongue with World War III. He was having a cordial relationship with them because guess what? A lot of times when we have these wars, they start off with these other smaller countries, and then, people start getting involved with the smaller countries and their issues, and the next thing you know, the superpowers come in and they gotta back their dog, and the next thing you know, we're all fighting over some bullshit. So if we have a president in office that has a cordial relationship with that motherfucker, has a cordial relationship with that motherfucker, if these smaller countries start squabbling, the major superpowers, instead of just getting involved directly and start bombing each other, they sit down at the table and they be like, hold up, okay, so your little brother doing this, well, my little brother doing that, and they work it out. They make a deal. They make it so that we don't have to go to nuclear war. We don't have to ship our young men off to go die and get maimed and get psychologically ruined over something that could be solved through conversation. So, yeah, I do think that Trump gives a good goddamn about us because he's trying his best not to ship our young people off to go die. He's trying his best to avoid nuclear war as much as possible. And nuclear war affects all of us, rich or poor. If that nuke goes off, we all disintegrated. So, yeah, I think he does care. A lot more than you folks that are just so ready to just go to war because it makes you so much money. Ready to just ship other people's children out because you know how to skirt the system so that your people, your loved ones, don't go in unless they want to. It is what it is. You're not going to be able to convince me otherwise. I'm going to vote for the dude. Well, I'm actually not. I'll talk about that a little bit later. I'm going to hope that the dude that wants to keep us out of war wins. Okay? Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just go into this really quick. I'll do the weave real quick. When it comes to these elections, my personal stance, and that's what's so funny about everyone's talking about how I'm, up Trump's ass. What's so funny about that is I have a bigger agenda outside of wanting Trump to be president. My agenda is that I want this two-party system dismantled. I don't like the fact that we have to choose between two lesser evils. I feel like the people should have a broader choice instead of having to deal with, people that are on third parties getting iced out of the election. Because just for example, Jill Stein, Cornel West, they keep trying to get their names on the ticket, and it's the Democrats blocking them from being on the ticket in certain states, making it very difficult for them to get their name on the ticket to be voted for. I would prefer a system where we don't have to choose from the lesser of two evils, where someone can run third party and actually have a chance at the seat. That's what I want. And that's what I want outside of just Trump being president. That's my biggest agenda. That's what I really, truly care about. I don't really give a good goddamn about, all this other bullshit. I want this two-party system. Is this thing? Okay, that's better. It was just like slowly going up. I do not want this two-party system to continue to plague the American people. We deserve more choices. People that we can actually choose from that are honest, that genuinely want to do good things. We want to be able to have that kind of choice. And we won't have that with a two-party system. So that's my agenda. That's what I really am for. Okay? So if I do participate in the election, it's voting third party or just saying fuck the system altogether. I'm not voting. That's the two options I have. And the last time I did vote, I voted for the Green Party, I think. Because I've been on this time since 2012 that this two-party system is bullshit. I've been on that time. So, with that being said, let's see. Dayton says, for the election, I feel like it's the Simpsons episode with Kang versus Kodos. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I have issues with both candidates, but I will say Trump was on better terms with other countries, like Kim Jong-un. Yeah. He set foot over there. That was very monumental. Like that was really big. He set foot over there. Like, I want the motherfucker that's gonna talk to these people and have us on speaking terms rather than just, oh, well, we need to bomb them. We need to shoot down their planes. We need to do this. We need to do that. And then we end up in World War III and a lot of loved ones die unnecessarily. I want the guy that's gonna keep me and my loved ones out of war. That's what I want. But bigger than even that is I want this, well, not just that, but like bigger than this election, I want this two-party system dismantled. And I want the people to have actual real life choice. Yeah, Jill Stein been in these streets. Cornel West been in these streets. But they keep third party. If you run third party, you're not going to get anywhere. You know what I mean? Not to say that they shouldn't run. Continue to run third party. Continue to do it. And what's funny is that in the Joe Rogan interview, Trump mentioned how he wanted to run third party, but knew that if he did that, he wouldn't get nowhere. So then he ended up with the Republicans. Very interesting. You learn that if you watch the Joe Rogan interview. He talks about that.
Yeah, well, empathy requires you to divorce your own ego to see yourself as someone else.
That's exactly right.
And where was your empathy for Cherie Peoples? I know I sound like a broken record, but that was the endorsement that meant a lot to me. People keep talking about, well, this celebrity, that celebrity. That's not what I give a damn about. Cherie Peoples, where was the empathy for her and her chronically ill daughter? Her daughter was sickle cell. When you literally prosecuted her for 2 years and she lost everything. Where was the empathy for her? There was no empathy because you were laughing about it.
That's exactly, and we know that's not his character. So it's about, is this the right person for that job, right?
It's not.
He said
you.
immigrants are taking black jobs. I don't know what those black jobs that they're taking.
Shut your ass up. Talking about you don't know what those, maybe you don't know. Because you're not one of us. You're a part of the elite class. You don't have to worry about that. What, you were a star athlete? I don't know who the fuck this nigga is. But you're not one of us. So of course you don't know what he meant by black jobs. But since you're so damn ignorant, I'll let you know. Black jobs is any job that a black person could have, but somebody that's illegally here now is taking that position for less money. I have family that own construction business. And guess what? They're being iced out of the market because illegal labor. People being paid under the table to do half-ass jobs because they're able to just, hey, we'll charge you less because they have to pay these illegals less because it's under the table. Is icing out this black construction business. That's a black job. The fuck? Like, all these people talk about, oh, well, these low income, this is low income job. It's not just that. It's really not just that. We literally had a guy deliver a package the other day, and he ain't speak a damn lick of English. What was that, for Amazon? An Amazon package, maybe? This dude come up to, no inglés, no inglés, door, take picture door. Come on now. Come on now. And now if we want to broaden the conversation, you know, it's not just black people losing out on these jobs. It's any American citizen. But if we also look at where they're shipping these illegal immigrants, they're putting them mostly in predominantly black neighborhoods. It's just these people want to act like they ain't know what the hell he's saying. But if you say black anything else, they know exactly what the hell you saying. Black excellence, black girl magic, black girls rock, black this, black that. They know what you're talking about when it's that. But somehow we're confused as to what black jobs are.
Can you elaborate on that? What the immigrants are taking? What black jobs are they?
It's just another example of him trying to divide and him trying to scare people.
Oh, like you are with 2025, Project 2025. Girl.
It's just another example of him doing that, of him trying to say it's either you or them, right? Mm-hmm. And the other thing is that it's incredibly demeaning because, and he still has not been forced to define, Donald Trump, what do you define as a black job? Because let me
a black job is any job that a black person could have but doesn't have because they're paying illegals to do it under the table.
Tell you what I define as a black job. Vice President of the United States.
Oh, then why are you in that job, Miss Red Dot Indian Hindu woman? If that's a black job, why are you there? Why are you there then? If that's a black job. Because your ass ain't nothing black about you. Why are you there then, if that's the case?
That's a good one.
Right?
It is. I don't know about the pay, but it's a good job to have. That'll be.
Well, you know, not everybody is Shannon Sharp.
No, but you know what I wanted to ask? You've been in basically your adult life. You've been a public servant.
Yes, I have.
You've been AG.
My whole adult life.
You've been a DA. Yeah. You've been a senator. You've been VP. Is that what you envisioned? Is that what you always wanted to be, was a public servant?
I've always wanted to serve. You know,
there are so many jokes that I could make right now in reference to her and Willie Brown, but I'm not going to. Okay, I'm going to be better.
You know, I was raised, I mean, back to whether you are, however you are raised, in the community in which you are raised, including the church in which you are raised, I have always believed that it is an important pursuit to figure out how you can serve. And we can do it in different ways, mm-hmm. right? I chose public service. You chose a different route, mm-hmm. but it's about service. Mm-hmm. And I have always, I mean, I've only had one client my entire life, the people.
Again, Cherie Peoples. What about this person and her daughter? What about those people? What about those black men that you kept evidence from? Evidence that would exonerate them. You withheld it. What about those people? What about them?
And the reason I keep doing it is because I know the difference.
One client, she talking about Willie Brown. I told you I was going to be better, so I'm not going to say anything.
That I and we can make mm-hmm. when we believe in what is possible and then work hard at it. And my pledge in this campaign to everyone, regardless of who you are, where you live, what you look like, I will be a president for all Americans.
Oh, those same Americans that you keep telling they're at the wrong rally, the ones you keep telling I'm speaking. Those same people, you're going to be their president, you're going to work for them after you just disrespected the fuck out of them? Okay.
And I will work to bring our country back together because, frankly, I think people are exhausted with the anger, with the hate, with the division, the attempt to have Americans pointing their fingers at each other, I think people are exhausted. It's not healthy for the productivity of our country. Like, do we want to strive? Do we want to thrive? Or do we want to spend full time with vengeance, demeaning other people, and living?
Oh, the way your people come and demean me in my comment section, and other people in their comment section, those demeaning ass people. Oh boy.
Living a life of service is about, I think, the importance of lifting people up, not tearing them down.
My team here at
Oh my God. I wonder how many more ads we got. Let me see. How many more ads do we have? Maybe that's the last one. Or maybe I'm going through it too fast to see all the ads. Hopefully that's the last one. We'll see.
Reds, some blacks say the problem that they have to you is that you're making political promises and that you're just pandering. The problem that I have with that, it just seems like only.
Is that your question, or is that a question for you or her? The problem that I have with that, nigga, nobody gives a fuck what problem you have. Ask this bitch why she keep pandering to us.
Black people pander. Like when other candidates go on shows and they say they're going to do this, they're not pandering.
Yeah, because they're not putting on black sense. And then talking about how they gonna go to their pastor and how you need to thank a union member. You gotta thank a union member. They're not putting on fucking black sense. They're not talking about how they wash their greens in a bathtub. They're not talking about how they have hot sauce in their bag, Hillary. They're not going on Breakfast Club and saying, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. So yeah, we don't bring this up with certain people because they don't fucking do it. Bringing up a real issue that we're struggling with isn't pandering. But going in front of a black crowd and putting on a black accent is pandering. Having this whole interview where you bringing up Stevie Wonder and all sorts of bullshit is pandering. Getting up there with Roland Martin and doing little dances and stuff is pandering. Trying to act like you black when you not is pandering. Girl. Well, actually, no, that's not directed at her. That's directed at him. He said that dumb ass shit.
They're telling you, laying out their elaborate plan on what they're going to do. But it seems to you, when you promise it, if I'm president, this is what I'm going to do in the first 90 days. This is what I'm going to do. My administration's going to do while I'm in office. You're pandering. How do you get through to those that says, look, this is what I'm going to do?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot relate this to Joe Rogan at all. Joe asked questions and let Trump answer them. He didn't answer the questions for him. And he actually gave pushback. This is some softball bullshit. Because the real question is, why are you pandering to black people? That's the question that should be asked. But that's not what he's asking. He's giving this whole runaround how it's not pandering. How are you dealing with the people saying you're pandering? I know you're not pandering, Miss Vitamin President, whatever the fuck. This is her word salad is now rubbing off on me. He's not asking a real question. He's not asking a real. Oh.
If I'm elected president, these are the policies, and they will lead to meaningful and impactful change.
Well, part of it is just to be candid. I think that there's sadly a misinformation out there about who I am and what I've done, because if people are informed about fact, they will know that almost everything that I'm talking about doing as president is built on a foundation of work that I've been doing for years. if it is about economic empowerment of the Black community and all communities, I've been working on that. As vice president, I am responsible for billions of dollars from big banks and big corporations, including technology companies, getting into community banks to increase access to capital for minority-owned and other small businesses. If you look at my work over a period of years, my focus again on something like maternal mortality is longstanding, which directly impacts Black men and Black women.
Right.
And the Black family.
Then why are you pushing so heavy for us to kill our babies? Why is that one of your main stances? Excuse baby girl, she had a big baby blowout, so she going through it right now, getting cleaned up by her dad. But if you care so much about Black families, why are you advocating so hard for us to kill our babies? Why?
If you look at the work that I am doing that is about small businesses, you know, the person who helped my mother raise us, who was a second mother to us, was a small business owner. I have always focused for such a long time on what we need to do, knowing that our small businesses are part of the culture of our communities, right? Including the economic fabric and strength of the community. So what I'm talking about doing right now is based on longstanding work. It's not new. But as President of the United States, part of why it is important is it is a new approach to that job. It is about a new way that is based on a new generation of leadership that is.
How is it new generation of leadership when you've been in the political realm? You've been there. So how is this a new generation of leadership? Girl, bye.
Based on new ideas and, frankly, a different experience that brings my commitment to the work I am talking about into being.
Can you give us a breakdown of how you will allow Blacks and other minorities to access capital? Because you speak a lot about capital, and in order for people to become successful and have some wealth, is that they need to have access to that to get started.
So that's, in fact, why I did, starting last or earlier this year, my economic opportunity tour, way before I was running for president, because I realized that so many of our entrepreneurs don't actually have that we need to do better in getting information to people about what's available to them. So, for example, through the Small Business Administration, there are funds available to help people create a business plan. There is resources available to help people just know how that you need to run a payroll, how you need to pay business taxes. Part of my plan, by the way, is to simplify taxes for small businesses. I like to say it's basically, I'm going to date myself, like, you remember the 1040 Did you ever have to do a 1040 Probably never.
No.
Okay, I did. But, you know, simplifying tax returns for people, including our small businesses. But the work that
I do want that tax form to be a lot more simple, because that shit, I hate filing out taxes. I hate filing taxes. This is the longest process. It takes forever, and I just be looking at it like, what the hell is this? Look, I'm not a tax person. I hate going through that process every year. It's so annoying. I will agree with that. I want that taxing situation to be simplified all the way to hell, because that is not a fun season for your girl, especially since I hate math. Oh, but Justin just told me apparently that's another one of Trump's plans that she stole. Okay.
I have done and will continue to do is about knowing that we don't lack for hard work, we don't lack for good ideas, but we do lack for information about the help that is available. So that's part of how it is going to be about increasing access to capital. Part of it is about putting more money. So I called up and got in touch with and worked with some of the big CEOs of the biggest corporations in America and said, and the big banks, that you all don't necessarily, you're not there in the community where you can get a $100,000 loan to a small business. You guys deal at a different level, but those $100,000 loans for a startup will go a long way. Let's get those billions of dollars that you've got, put them into community banks who are in the community, who know what the community needs, what they want, what the consumers there want, and then support those small businesses. So that's my approach to access to capital, including making sure that people.
I am for community banking. Okay, I am all for community banking. However, when you say that you're going to get these bigger banks to be a part of that process, my ears go up because they are very predatory. These same banks are already causing the problem. So the fact that you want them to help solve the problem, I just don't see how that's going to work. Okay, I just don't see how that's going to work at all because they're the ones icing out small businesses.
Have, again, simplifying taxes for small businesses. You know why, Shannon? Small businesses can't afford to hire a bunch of accountants.
Yeah, they can't help.
And a bunch of lawyers. But that shouldn't be the reason they fail, because they didn't fill out the form properly.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So my approach is really understanding the culture, understanding the needs, and then trying to fix problems. I love fixing problems with common sense solutions. And again, look, Donald Trump is never going to relate necessarily to the kind of folks that I'm talking about.
How do you relate to us? You don't relate either. You literally had servants back in Jamaica. Bitch, how do you relate to us? You don't. So stop trying to call him unrelatable when you don't relate either. That's like the Obamas talking about somebody's going to have to give a little so that we can all stay from your multi-million-dollar homes. You don't relate either. Stop.
Who on the ground just need to be seen and heard, and then let's fix the problems. Let's address the challenges to let them not just get by, but get ahead. And I want to put a fine point on this. Maybe it's a new perspective. I think it is. I believe that we have had great success in bringing Black unemployment down to historic lows.
Yes.
But for me, that's a floor. For me, that's a floor. Because what I know is that it should be baseline that everybody's working.
How is that going to happen when you have illegal immigrants coming and taking our jobs, flooding them into our communities so that they can undercut the system? How is that going to work? You can't say you care about Black unemployment when you keep putting motherfuckers in that's taking our employment opportunities and getting paid under the table. This is all lip service.
It's not enough. People want to build wealth.
Yes.
And intergenerational wealth.
Correct.
And I want to help people do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know what folks want to be able to take a nice vacation from time to time, have nice Christmas gifts for their kids under the tree.
I wonder how many nice vacations Cherie Peoples and her daughter got to go on while you were prosecuting her for truancy. I wonder how many vacations those innocent Black men that you kept locked up past their release date, or the ones that you withheld the evidence for. How many vacations did they get to go on? Lip service.
And it can't just be about, well, you've got a job, applaud me for what I've done for you.
Right.
And that's the spirit with which I do my work.
I saw President Trump on a TV show, and he talked about defunding the Department of Education.
Yes.
Basically, we know that's going to affect communities like us that don't have the resources. And
like us? Nigga, you not like us. Stop. Like us. You not one of us, nigga. Like you not. You're part of the elite class. The issues that affect us don't affect you unless we're talking about nuclear war. Shut the fuck up.
And then because he says he doesn't, if they taught about slavery, which is a part of our history, it's
that they're trying to cover up.
Yes.
That they're trying.
Stop. First of all, yes, there has been efforts to try to lie about history. I bring up the issue with textbooks, and I believe it was Texas, where instead of using the word slave, they used indentured servant, which means something completely different. So yeah, there are evidence there are, issues of them trying to hide the history, but I don't necessarily think that, just because you don't teach critical race theory in your school, that you're necessarily getting rid of history. Because we got to understand slavery is a part of the U.S. history, right? So, and I didn't grow up with critical race theory, but they did teach at length about slavery and, civil rights and all that stuff. Don't even get me started on all of that. Do not get me started on all of that. But I'm not going to weave with that one, okay? I'm not going to do the weave with that one. But if you really look at what it's saying, it's like the critical race theory, and then the gender studies, and a bunch of other stuff that doesn't need to be in school. We can learn about US history without it being critical race theory. But then also at the same time, don't let these motherfuckers swap out the word slave for indentured servant. So that's where I stand on that.
Trying to cover up.
To talk about racism. And he said, well, what we would do if they talked about it, they wouldn't get funding.
I don't think that's true. I think that the more deeper conversation where you basically try to tell white people that they should all feel bad because they're white, I think that part doesn't need to be in there. But if we're just talking about basic history without pointing the finger at people that weren't alive then, I think that that's literally okay. And that's what we've literally had this entire time up until recently. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the attempts to remove the word slave and swap in indentured servant, and then, adding all this other layer onto it. Literally, like, US history has a lot of Black history woven into it. And as long as they're not trying to take out the core message, the core history, if they're just not wanting you to say that white people should feel bad about being white because of some shit their ancestors did, if they're saying they just don't want you to put that in there, which is pretty much the whole basis around critical race theory, is this an add-on, right? Because we already were learning about slavery. We're already learning about, civil rights in school before the term critical race theory was really put out there for all of us to talk about and discuss. We were already getting taught this history. You know what I'm saying? So if we're going back to that, I don't see that there's any issue with that. We don't need the extra add-ons where we try to make white people feel bad because their ancestors were on some fuck shit.
And we know what communities are going to be most impacted by non-funding.
And understand that they want to get rid of Department of Education and get rid of Head Start. You know whose kids are in Head Start? They want to, it is, and to your point, and I'm so glad you pointed this out.
Oh, and you know what's so funny? If you actually read Project 2025, they talk about letting mothers, I put on a little accent, so she gets to switch up her accent, I'm going to switch up mine. If you actually read Project 2025, even though this isn't Trump's policy, but, they like to fearmonger. In Project 2025, they talk about allowing mothers to have a choice as to where they spend the money. So like if you're a mother and you need government assistance when you're taking care of your child, you can literally give that money to a family member who can watch your child while you go to work. That's one of the policies that they have in there. And I think that's actually a really good policy because sometimes when you go to like these Head Start places, the kids get mistreated and abused and the conditions aren't that great. But if you give families an option where they can choose a family member to watch their child and then they can give the check to the family member, I think that would be a much healthier, safer system for families and children. Just saying. They want to fearmonger with Project 2025, but that's an actual policy in Project 2025 is for you to be able to spend, you to be able to give that money that would be spent on a Head Start and actually give that money to a family member instead for watching your child while you go to work. So like a grandmother or an auntie or, you know what I mean?
These are the same people who basically suggested that enslaved people benefited from slavery. The same people who are trying to ban and are banning books.
Okay. All of us are currently benefiting from slavery. Every last one of us. Because we live in America and we know how America's economy was built up. We know how America was built up. We're all benefiting from it on a level. Now, that doesn't negate the fact that there is a debt owed for that labor. But it would be dumb to say that me, because I'm Black, I don't benefit from the slave labor today. You know what I mean? That I don't benefit from the work that my ancestors put in. On a level, we all do. We all do. So it's like the slaves themselves, no, I don't agree with that. They were the ones being, used at the time. But as far as like the descendants, we do benefit from it on a level. We all do as Americans. And the illegals that keep flooding our country, they're benefiting from it too. We're all benefiting from the labor of slaves from back in the day because they're the ones who really built up this country.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if we don't teach America's full history, we will never ensure that we don't make the same.
Yes.
To do those same things again.
Let's learn from that painful part of our history to make sure we don't repeat it, but not by not covering it up. Let's have an open and honest conversation about it. It happened.
And the effects of it.
Yes.
And the present day effects of it.
If we really want to have an honest conversation, then we really want to have an honest conversation about what happened during the civil rights movement. That's the conversation they really don't want us to have. It's about how the civil rights movement was a fucking trick bag. They don't want us to have that conversation because then we'll be looking at the Democrats all kind of crazy. But y'all not ready for that. Y'all not ready for that. That's a little too deep. That's a little too deep.
I think we both agree. I think we can all agree on this, that there is a problem with, I don't know how the correct term, I think it's undocumented. How do we get a hold?
I don't know the correct term, undocumented, to make it sound less worse than illegals, foreign invaders. There's tons of terms we could use. Motherfuckers coming here ain't got no fucking paperwork of criminals because the rate of crime for illegals 100%, because the moment you step foot in this country without legal documentation, the moment you step foot in this country and you did not go through the processes of getting your visas in order, the moment you do that, you're a fucking criminal. And I don't hold that for the children. The children, they don't have choice in this, right? Their parents are making choices on their behalf. The babies aren't criminals, but they parents, they grandparents, the folks that's coming here illegally, you're 100% already a criminal. You're a foreign invader. You have no business being here because you weren't processed.
Hold on that, Madam VP. How do we make sure, because I think I've heard you say you want a path to citizenship.
We already have a path to citizenship. How do you think all these people that have legally migrated here got here? We already have a path to citizenship. They keep acting like legal migration just never happens. And what a slap in the face to the people that actually went through the system legally to get here, put their dues in, did everything the right way. What a slap in the face to them. I've had to go through the processes of going to another country, and that shit is annoying and it is difficult. Okay, when I was going for my paperwork to go work in China for the little bit of time that I did, I was back and forth from the embassy in Chicago. I was back and forth. I had to make sure my little picture was correct, and then it wasn't correct, so I had to end up taking another picture at the office, and I had to go back with the right paperwork, and then they were closed during certain times. There was like a window of opportunity. The lines be long as hell. I had to make sure this was on point. I had to make sure I got my police records. I had to make sure I got my health records. I had to make sure I had my diploma. There was a lot of things that I had to do in order to get into China. And I'm okay with that. Protect your land. But my question is, why are they trying to make the process easier to come over here? I don't want it to be easier. I want you, if you're going to come over to my country, I want you to be the best of the best, and I want you to do it legally. And the people that go through that process and come here legally, my hat, I take it off to you. Good for you for not skirting the system and doing it the wrong way. Thank you for not violating our laws to get here. Thank you for respecting us as Americans enough to let us know who the hell you are before you got here. My hat off to the migrants that do it the right way. The ones that don't, send their ass back. Go back to your homeland. And then come back when you have the right paperwork.
But we want to, make sure people come in and do things properly.
Yes, that's exactly right. So first of all, I have personally prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I have prosecuted the Sinaloa cartel, okay? The Guadalajara cartel. So I put my record up to anybody in terms of how strongly I feel about having a secure border.
Says the bitch that didn't go to the border until recently. Like, there is literally a clip of her saying, she was being asked, like, have you gone to the border? Are you going to go to the border? Well, I haven't been to Europe, so what? I will insert that clip here when I do the I already told y'all. I care so much about the border. Then why haven't you been there? ¿Por qué? And then why did you laugh about Donald Trump building a wall, but then also brought up how, did I say Obama or Trump? I don't know. Why would you laugh at Trump building a wall, but then talk about how Obama built part of a wall, and then that's where Trump took his picture, and then when you're asked about whether or not you're going to continue to build the wall, well, you're putting forth a bill that continues to build said wall. Like, girl, she's so unserious when it comes to the border. She's so unserious.
And making sure that there is not that kind of trafficking.
I'm feeling the effects of famine right now. Is that your way of telling me to get my ass in the kitchen? Justin, is that your way of bringing down the patriarchy onto me? I'm almost done. And I think I'm going to have to pass on playing a little bit of Fortnite tonight because this is too damn much. This stream is going on almost 4 hours. I need to go feed my man and myself because I'm hungry too. But we're going to finish this up as quick as possible.
Into America. I also know that we need to put more resources at the border, which is why I supported a bill that came about, including from the most conservative members of Congress, to put 1,500 more border agents at the border, to do what we need to do to cut down the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is killing people of every race and background.
The same bill that several Democrats voted down as well. Okay.
More resources would have gone to prosecuting human trafficking. Donald Trump got word of that bill, and he knew it would be a solution to a problem, which is that we have a broken immigration system. He got word of the bill, and he told his friends in Congress, don't put it up for a vote. Don't let it go.
This is, again, what I was talking about earlier. She'll say, well, he didn't want this bill to go through. Well, why is that? Oh, because he wants to run on a problem, or did the bill have a bunch of bullshit in it? Did the bill have a bunch of bullshit in it? And from what I've read so far, it did. And I can go, I might do a little deep dive into that in a later video and pull it up so you guys can see. But it's not that, oh, you just want to run on a problem. It's that you put forth a bill that had a bunch of bullshit in it. Oh, well, everyone wanted this bill. Da, 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 da. Okay, well, what are the fine line details? Because clearly there was something in that motherfucker that even some Democrats was like, nah, G, this ain't it.
Further, because you see, he wants to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
Right.
And is putting out tens of millions of dollars.
The irony of someone saying you want to run on a problem when you're literally in office and you could be working to fix these problems, but instead you're campaigning on them. The irony of it. I'm going to need y'all to understand the irony. Why aren't you working with Biden, who's still the sitting president, to start solving these problems right now? You are, in fact, running on a problem. He's not in office. So obviously, all he can do is run on a problem. That's all he can do. His pen don't mean shit right now. But you and Biden's, yours do. So if you anything, why are you running on a problem, ma'am? You are in office right now. Biden is in office right now. Why aren't you doing things to fix these problems right now? Because you want to run on a problem.
Of campaign commercials full time, trying to suggest that he cares about strengthening the border when he had an opportunity to participate in a solution, which he killed because he's not about problem solving. It's about a political game for him. My point.
Oh, like the political game you played with DeSantis, talking about, well, he didn't answer my phone call. Bitch, you're not even the line of communication to get these situations with hurricanes solved. And shout out to Joe Biden for saying DeSantis is doing a great job after she said he don't pick up the phone for her. Shout out to Biden for saying he has my direct line and can call me whenever he needs something. Shout out to Biden for undermining this heifer. but Trump's the one playing political games when during a literal natural disaster, a fucking crisis in Florida, you want to make it about you and somebody not picking up the phone for you when you're a non-motherfucking factor in this situation, bitch. Like, you're not on the docket. You have no power in this area. But Biden does, and DeSantis was on the phone with Biden, and they was chopping it up. They got shit done. He got the permits he needed, and it was all good. They good. They shmoney. But you want to make it about you because you're playing a political game. He didn't answer my phone call. Why does he need to answer your phone call? For what? Optics?
Point is, we got to strengthen the border, and we need to have an immigration system that is fair and humane and strong in terms of making sure that people have to earn citizenship. They have to work hard to get it.
What about those people you just waved your wand and gave amnesty to without vetting them? What about... Justin, I'm hurrying up. I'm sorry. What about, these families that have been directly affected by these programs you put out there for these illegals to just catch and release them? What about them? What about those young women that have been murdered and AR'd because of your catch and release bullshit? How is that strengthening anyone's border? How is that being tough on illegal immigration at all? Stop it.
My plan includes also strengthening what we need to do in terms of, illegal entry in between ports of entry. What we need to do to put more support for Border Patrol agents, put more technology at the border. But it includes also, I'm never going to talk about people from Haiti eating their pets.
Right.
And I think that we also know we don't want an immigration system that's about separating children from their parents. Mm-hmm. We can do it in a humane way, but the bottom line is we can fix these.
Send the kids back with their parents. You don't have to separate them. Send their ass back with their parents, which is what they should be doing anyways. Send their ass back with their parents.
Problems. The solutions are at hand. He stands in the way.
Right.
And in particular on this issue.
If you were to become president, would you ask Congress to reinstitute that bill and try to get it through?
Absolutely. And also I would work across the aisle with Republicans. There are a lot of Republicans supporting me in this campaign. And I would work with Republicans to bring this bill back up so I can sign it into law.
Right.
What's so funny is her toting around the fact that Dick Cheney is supporting her. When did we start liking the Cheneys? When was that? When did we start, repping Dick Cheney? That's how you know all this shit is backwards as fuck.
And I do want to talk about that for a moment. This is not 2016 or 2020 in terms of how people are thinking about Donald Trump.
Yeah, a lot of people like him now. A lot of people are seeing through the bullshit and the lies, especially a lot of Black people. I was surprised when I saw as many Black people as I've seen speaking up about how they feel about the election and how they truly feel about Donald Trump and how they feel about this heifer right here.
He was president, and the people who worked the most closely with him, Republicans at the highest level, his former chief of staff, his former defense secretaries, his former national security advisor, and his former vice president, have collectively said he is dangerous and unfit to be president of the United States.
Justin is literally sitting here, standing right next to me, like putting pressure on me to end. Bruh, I got like 6 minutes or 9 minutes or so. Well, no, he has some little extra stuff. I just got a few more minutes. I'm gonna try to get through it.
And Shannon, you can just watch. Watch his rallies. I mean, did you
Sorry,
see
y'all.
that 39 minutes of him swaying back and forth to YMCA? No, the man, you have to watch, and I encourage everybody who's watching this, watch what he's doing at these rallies. He is increasingly unstable.
All this unstable talk. I hate being a big plug for freaking Joe Rogan, but there's no way you can say this man's unstable and all this other stuff if he was able to hold a 3-hour conversation without getting up, getting a bathroom break. Yeah, he did the weave, but he was able to bring his points back home. But then when I see Biden, he looked like he looked like my toddler after she done pooped the pants. Just it's freezing. So you'll point out, Donald Trump swaying from side to side. I don't know. I've been bored before. I don't know if you have. I think we've all been bored before. And you just standing there just waiting for some shit to start. Okay, and I can tell from that interview, that Joe Rogan interview, that man is not senile in the slightest. Because even with me, a 3-hour conversation is it's just like, God. Especially, you're filming it. Hell, I've been streaming for 3.5 hours now, and I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. And I'm hurrying up, Justin. I'm hurrying up. Okay.
And unfit to be president,
Willie
according
Brown's
to the
side
people who
piece.
knew him best. All Republicans, by the way, who I just referred to,
Right.
who know he is unfit to be commander-in-chief.
Maybe they don't like him because they know he about to show all their corruption and let them have it for all the bullshit they've been pulling over the American people's eyes. Maybe that's the reason why they don't like his ass. I grew up in the time where we were all skeptical of who the media loved and who the media hated. That's the type of time I grew up on. Where if you tell me how much this person is so bad, then I'm thinking they might be trying to break apart a corrupt system. We talk at length for years and years about how everything is so damn corrupt. These politicians are so damn corrupt. So when you're telling me that, these politicians don't like him anymore, I wonder why. And my ears perk up. Because they corrupt ass has been in government much longer than Trump. And what, he about to bust them open and show what's really happening, and that's why they don't like his ass?
We'll talk about service members. A lot of your listeners and the people who are a fan of your show have served or do serve. And
like those same people that are currently serving our country that you pretended like they didn't exist. We don't have nobody deployed. Bitch, then where are they? Those same service people you disrespected when you said that bum ass shit? Okay.
in the United States military, he talks about military service members as being uncourageous, as being cowards, suckers, and losers.
Did he say that about a specific person that was in the military, or did he make a blanket statement? I'm gonna need you to show receipts. because I've never heard him say that about service members in a general sense. Actually, what I have heard him say was talk very fondly about the generals and people that are in the service that we don't know about. Okay, they're not big names. We don't know about them, but they're behind the scenes actually getting shit done. I've heard him speak very highly of them. Oh, John McCain. Or Tim Walz, when he said he was somewhere where he really wasn't. Maybe he was talking about them. I don't know. But what I've heard is him speak very fondly of the generals that he worked with during his time as presidency. The ones that don't know, that we don't know. The ones whose names are in the media because they're not public figureheads. They're actually doing the work. That's what I've heard him say.
This is how the man talks. And so let's not get distracted by who he was on The Apprentice.
Right.
You said he was being petty. He was being petty with that one. You said, I don't think he meant it like that. I mean, I would just have to see the context. I want to see the context of everything, because fuck all these people trying to tell me what it is. And then I actually go look at it and I'm like, motherfucker, you said this was a giraffe. It's a whole elephant. It's a whole elephant. You keep saying it's a giraffe, but motherfucker, it's a fucking elephant, bitch. But if I kept going off of your words, I'd be like, yeah, the giraffe over there. I want to see the context. I want to see it for myself and then make my own opinion about it, which you all should do as well. Don't just take my word for the things that I say. I would like you guys to, go and look these things up on your own. Okay? And when I do my little breakout videos, I'll bring as many receipts as possible. Receipts. Why I say it like that? I'm going to bring as many receipts as possible, y'all. When I do my little clips from this live stream, I'll bring the receipts that I have. But make sure you're finding your own receipts and thinking for yourself. Don't go off of just everything I'm saying. Do your own research as well.
Let's not get distracted by whatever, building in whatever city in Vegas or wherever has his name on it.
I do want to stay at the Trump Tower for a few nights. I'm not even gonna lie. My grandparents, they stayed there. This was before, Trump got political like that. So my grandparents didn't hate it. My grandparents are on that, old school Democrat train. It is what it is. A lot of older Black people are already indoctrinated so heavy and have the sunken cost fallacy when it comes to the Democrat Party. So they're just gonna stick it out until the end of their days. But before Trump was assassinated in the media, so to speak, my grandparents had stayed at the Trump Tower, and I remember they brought back like a little handkerchief or something that they got while they were there, and they were just like, oh my God, the Trump Tower was just so amazing. They were just talking about how beautiful it was, how amazing the experience was. So I wouldn't mind staying a few nights at the Trump Tower. Me and Justin, we're gonna get our bread up and we're gonna stay a few nights.
Let's look at the job of President of the United States. And is he fit to do that job?
Yes, because he already did that job. And I'm not gonna lie, during the time he was president, I ain't worried about my gas prices as much. I remember going to the grocery store and being like, dang, I got all these groceries for this little bit of money. I was happy. I didn't really, when Trump got elected, I was upset. But then again, I didn't like Hillary either, because I was like, this racist bitch. But I didn't like Trump either at the time when he got elected. But then while he was president, I rarely ever really thought about him. And I was just going about my days and I was fine. I wasn't worried going to the grocery store like I am these days. These days, I'm going to the grocery store like, oh my God, which arm I got to cut off to pay for these groceries today? Okay. I wasn't really worried about a lot of things when Trump was president. And that's in retrospect. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, at the time, I was furious that he was elected, but I was also furious if Hillary got elected. I was already on that time that fuck these two options. I was already on that time when he got elected. But if I'm being honest, and if all of us are being honest, a lot of us did better under the Trump administration. Period, point blank. Period.
And by the people who know him best, including most recently, a 4-star Marine general, his former chief of staff, they all say, those who know him best, he is unfit and dangerous.
The previous administration, your administration that you were in, they got kudos.
The previous administration, you mean the current administration? You mean the current administration?
for the student loan relief.
Yeah.
What's the contingency plan? Because I see it's still trying to go through and some of the courts have shot it down. Do you have a contingency plan to continue the student relief?
I'm going to keep fighting for it. And yes, because first of all, what I know is that too many people have been weighed down by their student loan debt.
Yes.
To the point they question whether they can have a family, whether they can retire at some point, whether they can buy a home. So that's why I pushed for what we did around student loan debt.
See, this problem isn't going to solve itself until you start holding these universities accountable for overcharging for an education. It's just that problem's not going to go away with, oh, we're going to do student forgiveness. Like, they keep teasing us with that shit and it never happens. What really needs to happen is you need to start holding these universities accountable for overcharging for the same classes. Like, you can literally go to university and you'll pay thousands of dollars for a class that you could get for a couple hundred at a community college. Same class, same material, same everything. It's just you're doing it at a name brand school, so to speak, and you're paying way extra for it. So, that's the only real reason, that's the only real way you're going to solve that problem if you stop allowing these colleges to overcharge students.
And thankfully, for example, we have billions of dollars in student loan debt relief that have gone, for example, to public servants like teachers and nurses and firefighters. But there's more we need to do. But, if I go into various communities,
I agree, Rizza. They need to help with job placement and offer degrees that guarantee jobs. Yes, because you go to school, and do well, but there's no guarantee that you're going to get a job. And you end up paying, and a lot of these jobs, they require you to have a master's degree, but then they want to pay you $40,000 a year. Bitch, what? Excuse me? A master's degree, but you want to pay me 40 G's a year? Not a month. Did I say a month? I'm in a year. You want to pay me 40 G's a year for a job that I had to take out hella student loans to even qualify for? Liberal arts and poetry are not going to pay the bills. Yeah, unless you pop off on TikTok or something. So it's like, this is a problem. Don't get me wrong. But your solution with loan forgiveness is bullshit. It's bullshit. The real problem is these fucking universities charging an arm and a fucking leg for some basic ass information. And then the job market not compensating you for getting said education, but requiring that you have it. Absolutely ridiculous. Look, Justin didn't go to college. I did. Guess what? Justin makes more money than me. Easily. He does. Because he's self-taught software engineer. And so he's able to make way more money than I am. But he also doesn't have the burden. He's unburdened by student loans. So yeah, this is an issue, but the solution you're proposing ain't shit. It's not gonna fix the overarching problem, which is the schools overcharging for some funky ass education. And then lying to people and acting like you have to get an education here or else you're not gonna be able to get a job. But then the jobs that want to get you pay you shit compared to how much you pay for the education that they telling you have to go get. Like, it's all BS.
Communities like here in Atlanta and ask people how many people got their student debt relieved, the number of hands that go up and the life-changing experience people have had reminds me of the importance of this fight, and I'm going to continue to do it.
Have you let people know?
Didn't they already have the student loan forgiveness for, educators and things like that while Trump was in office? Because I remember looking into that when I was like literally just getting out of college. So that's been a thing. You didn't do that, bitch.
That President Trump, if he were to get back in office, he wants to offer police complete immunity, that they can do no wrong, no matter how egregious the act may be.
That's not what he said. He said we have to look at things from a case-by-case standard. We have to look at things from a case-by-case situation. He did not say just blanket immunity for everybody. They already have a certain immunity already on the books. So it's like, what are we talking about here? If you're found And see, this is another thing. Folks, they don't understand what they're talking about because they already have a level of immunity on the board. But what also takes into account is if you did your job correctly. If through investigation it's found that you didn't follow protocol, that immunity goes out the door completely and you get prosecuted, as we've seen. So it's like, even when we talk about like the immunity, like they're being dishonest. They're being completely dishonest about it because you have to follow protocol. If you did not follow protocol, you don't get immunity.
They have complete immunity. Do people understand what that means? Do they really understand what that means, Madam VP?
I hope so. And I encourage people to go online to see how he says it.
Says the bitch that weaponized the police against single mothers in California, had them arrested because of truancy. Girl, shut the fuck up.
I encourage people to go online to see how he talks about a day of violence. Did you ever see the movies? Right. Understand. Again, don't take my word for it.
Take his.
Yeah.
Yeah, play the full clip of what he said. Play the full clip in context of what he said. Bitch. Play it.
Take his. And see.
Just like how they said bloodbath and he was talking about the auto industry, but they left that part out. These are fucking liars. And them saying that, they say that knowing good and damn well the people that are already rocking with this heifer, they're not going to go and look for context.
See where he stands on these issues.
I want to get you out of here on this one, Madam VP. You, like myself, attended and graduated from a historically black institution.
Proudly.
And it just goes to show you, if you look at myself, Stephen A., Michael Strahan, three of the most prominent voices in morning television.
The boule.
Yeah.
Attended and graduated from an HBC.
Yeah.
Yourself ascended to the highest of highs, graduated from an HBCU.
Mm-hmm.
What message would you like to share with students at all these historically black universities and colleges? What message would you like to share to them?
Oh, know your excellence. And know we are so proud of you. And we want you to have ambition. We applaud your ambition.
Sounds so fake. Like, you ever just be watching something and it just sounds so fake and disingenuous to you? Like, bitch, you don't mean this. Like, this is just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But it sounds so fake and forced.
We want you to know you can do and be anything, and don't ever hear no. And that no, you stand on broad shoulders, right? Because part of what we know is we have a legacy.
Yeah, we do.
And we stand then in that path, knowing that we also have the honor and the duty of excelling in every way possible, being able to see what is possible and not be burdened by other people's limited ability to see the same.
One more thing, I think something that's very, very near and dear to your heart is Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
I think 50 plus years, I think 72, 73, when it was Roe v. Wade said, hey, women have the right to their bodies.
Of course, the woman that bore, like, that had no children gives a damn about Roe v. Wade. I wonder how many little Kamalas did you yeet as fetus?
And all of a sudden, the Supreme Court struck it down and says, no, you don't. We have control over that. What would that mean to you? So how do you get that? How do you go back and fight to make sure women still have control of their bodies?
Okay, and see, this is something that really irritates the out of me. Is this whole control over your bodies. Okay, unless you're being AR'd, right? Unless you're being AR'd, you have control over your body. You have control to close them legs and not go around doing grown folk things and ending up with grown folk consequences. So I hate how they completely skip over the choices that you have prior to getting pregnant and just hyper focus on the choice to either yeet as fetus or keep the baby. Like, what about these other choices that you have? The choice to respect your body, the choice to pick and choose who you allow into your body, the choice to abstain until marriage. What about all these other choices that we have? But let's just forget about those choices and be reactionary to bad choices and then just yeet his fetus. Like, I'm pregnant right now. We were not expecting to have a baby. We were not planning to have a baby at the time. But guess what? We did grown folk things and we had grown folk outcomes. And I'm excited about my son. I'm excited for him to be here when he gets here. But still, this was not in the plans for me and Justin. But we made grown folk choices, and now we're dealing with grown folk consequences. And that consequence is going to be a beautiful, healthy baby boy. But I digress. What about those other choices? Stop making women seem like we don't have choices. Unless you were ARD, you had a choice in whether or not you allowed that man into your womb. You had a choice of whether or not you were out here screwing, Gawk 3000. You had choices, several choices beforehand. And even after, the choice to spread it wide, you also had the choice to go take a plan B to prevent the conception in the first place. I don't agree with birth control, taking the pill, but that's also a choice that women have. So stop it. Stop with this conflating, they just took the choice away from women, as if, in most situations, there weren't several choices made before the pregnancy was even a thing.
So I'm so glad you brought it up. Shannon, first of all, think about one of the most basic rights that you could imagine is the right for you to be able to make decisions about your own body.
Correct.
Your own.
Yeah, the same way men get to make the decision about having to sign up for the drafts, which will directly affect their body, especially since you war hungry motherfuckers are so eager to get us in another war. What about their choices?
Own body.
Your reproductive rights.
And the court just took that right away from women to make decisions about their own body and not have their government tell them what to do. And I think an important...
The government is not telling you to go lay up with that man that you barely know. The government is not telling you to go hit that sneaky link. There are several choices that you're making that are shitty choices. Get your choices together, okay? Before you start worrying about this singular choice. Stop. Unless the situation is an R where you literally have no choice, I don't want to hear this shit.
Important emphasis for me is you don't have to give up your faith or deeply held beliefs on this subject to agree the government shouldn't be telling her what to do. If she chooses, she'll talk with her pastor, her priest, her rabbi, her imam, but not the government telling.
And that's why the decision was sent to the states so we can vote on it. The states are getting to vote on it, and if there are states blocking the vote, that's a problem that needs to be dealt with within that state. But the states are getting a chance to vote on it. So you have states that are very liberal that will let you literally yeet his fetus at 9 months, which is disgusting to me. Because at that point, like, what's the point in doing that when the baby can safely be removed? And, I don't like the foster care system, but that's better than just killing them. You know what I'm saying? And then you have more conservative states where, it's only up to a certain point. Like, we are having the option to vote on these things. So, it is being put to the people, but what they want in their state.
Her. And we need to fight against this. We need to understand how many women are suffering miscarriage and being denied help because the doctors are afraid they may end up in jail.
Where? And I'm sure there's some obscure cases where the doctors are doing malpractice, but let's be serious. If you're taking several abortion pills and then the doctor sends you home to go bleed out in your bathroom and you have complications, then yeah, things like that are going to happen when you have an unchecked, and see, this is a thing that's also really, I'm going to try to wrap it up because Justin, I know that man hungry and I got to go feed my man. But these same people talking about all this reproductive rights shit, they're not forcing states to submit all of the data on abortions that they're having. right? So if there's complications and things like that, the data on that from certain states just isn't being sent to the CDC. So when you have women trying to look up, okay, what's the possibility of this? What's the probability of that? They're not getting the full picture because you're not required as a state to submit that data. You're not. So you want women to be able to make choices about their bodies, but you don't even want to supply them with the information they need to make the choice about their body. And on top of that, the fact that you're able to take abortion pills and go right home and bleed out in your bathroom is fucking disgusting. If you're going to have that on a level, like, I feel like that needs to take place in a hospital where care is right there for you. Not just, I'm going to give you these pills and then have a good day, ma'am. That's so inhumane. Like, even for, like, it's just on a human to human level, like, that's disgusting. If someone's going through a process like that, I'm gonna need them to be in the hospital so they can be monitored and make sure that they're okay. But these folks right here, they don't give a good goddamn. They just like the taglines of my body, my choice. Whole time, there's a lot of women being murked by my body, my choice movements. And they don't even want to report the full story on that. They don't want to report the full data on that. So honestly, like, this whole conversation is very disgusting to me, especially since I am a mother and I'm currently pregnant. I'm trying not to stress myself out thinking too hard about this one. But, you know, these people are so disingenuous. They don't give a good goddamn about women's bodies. If you cared about women's bodies, you would be promoting treating your body like a fucking temple. You would be promoting women being choosy about who they allow into their bodies. You would be promoting options outside of medical intervention to stop pregnancies that you don't want. By, like, first, you know, not opening them legs. You would focus on preventative measures. You would focus on giving women access to good data that shows exactly what's going to happen if they take this pill, if they get this surgery, if they get this, if they get that. You would give women the full picture, all the information they need to make an informed decision about their health. That's what you would do. You wouldn't allow them to just go home, take pills, and bleed out in their bathroom if you actually gave a good goddamn about a woman's body. But I digress.
In Texas, do you know they provide prison for life for doctors or nurses who provide reproductive care? Prison for life, Shannon.
Stop calling it reproductive care. Stop it. Oh, well, they give life sentences for providing reproductive care. What does reproductive care mean? When I go to the doctor and he's helping me through my pregnancy, that's reproductive care. Is my doctor going to get arrested for that? No, there's something very specific that they would get arrested for. So stop it. Stop using these overarching terms to describe something when that's not what it is.
In the state of Georgia, a beautiful young woman, a mother of a 6-year-old son, died because of these Trump abortion bans.
No. She unfortunately passed away because of malpractice. She unfortunately passed away because some hospital in a different state gave her some pills and sent her home. See, now, what they should have done, if they're going to allow this to happen at all, is whatever hospital or whatever doctor's office she got those pills from, she should have been under their care the entire time she was going through that process. But no, they sent her home to go bleed out. But you want to tell me how they care so much about women's bodies? This is disgusting.
The majority of black women and the men who love them live in the South.
Yes.
Do you know in every state in the South except for Virginia, abortion ban?
Yes.
Stop calling it a Trump abortion ban. He has nothing to do with that. The states had a decision. They voted on it. And if they didn't vote on it and that decision was taken from the people, then the people need to rise up and they'll tell their government, their state and local government that they want their voices heard. But stop labeling everything that you don't like the Trump plan, the Trump this, the Trump that. That is not Trump's area. He's not in office. He's not in office in these southern states. He's not. Hold the actual people that are there accountable instead of trying to use Trump bad for everything.
I do. Hopefully everybody else knows that also.
Right. And so we all have to stand, regardless of your gender, regardless of your race, your background. We have to stand and say, look, this is just simply not right, and we cannot stand for the notion that Donald Trump could be president of the United States, he who chose a Supreme Court that would take this right from the women of America. And
you don't have the right to just murder your child. I'm sorry to tell you that. That should not be a right, to murder your children in the womb. That shouldn't be a right. Now, granted, this conversation is nuanced. Obviously, when it comes to situations of, R and incest and things like that, life of the mother, we're talking about something completely different when we're talking about those. But I do not have a right now to just say, you know what, I don't feel like having a baby. Let's just yeet his fetus. I don't have that right. And I would never acknowledge that as a right that I should have. Because this baby is innocent. And, we have technology nowadays where a baby can survive outside the womb with the help of doctors. And I don't mind my tax dollars going towards this, okay, to be clear. Instead of funding Ukraine and all this other shit, illegal bullshit, instead of funding that, I have no issue with my tax dollars going towards making sure that, little babies have a safe home. I have no issue with that. But when it comes to, this whole concept of my body and all this other stuff, what about that baby's body if it's able to survive outside the womb with the right technology and doctors present? Why do we have to kill them? Especially once they get to that point, like where they can survive outside. Like, why can't we just keep those babies alive? And then, most places you can go and drop a baby off at the fire department within 30 days, of the baby being born. You can drop them off at the fire department or a church, and they're not going to investigate. They're just going to take that baby in and get them put into the system for foster care and adoption and all that. So why not keep the babies alive? Like, what's the point in just murdering them when they can survive outside the womb? That never and will never make sense to me, ever. And like I said, I have no issue with my tax dollars going to not only keep the baby alive while they finish developing, but then also help fund facilities and foster care and all this other stuff. Granted, foster care needs to be reworked. There's a lot of issues with that, but that's very well better than dying and not having a chance.
the men who love them. And now we have women suffering to such an extent as they are. I think it's one of the most fundamental rights that's at play.
One more thing before you go, Madam VP.
Yes.
Them tight ass pants. They've been bothering me this whole time. I just haven't said anything, since the beginning of the video. But them tight ass pants been bothering me this whole time.
Who's the real HU?
Oh, come on.
I'm just asking. I didn't want to know. I don't know. I didn't go to either one, so I just wanted to hear you.
You know.
Madam VP, Kamala Harris.
Thank you all. Thank you, Tim.
All right, y'all. We suffered through it. And shout out to y'all that suffered with me. Shout out to all y'all for suffering with me through this. I'm going to break this video into clips for, those of us who don't want to sit through a fucking 4-hour live stream dismantling this shit. I'm going to go cook and eat and spend time with my family. And maybe take a Advil or something. Now, I don't know if it's Advil. I don't even take I'm not going to take any medication. I'm just saying that because it's funny. Because I have a headache. I'm going to do something about this headache. Maybe give me a hot glass of tea. I'm going to do something because this right here, boy. That was a hot mess to try to get through. Election in a few days, 2 weeks. Yeah. Election is in a few days. I'm ready for this election cycle to be over, to be honest. I'm ready for everybody to shut the hell up and go about their days so we can talk about something else. But yeah, that's it, y'all. I'm done. I think you guys see exactly where my line in the sand is. I'm just this was a puff piece if I've ever seen one. there was no substance in this interview. It was just him kissing her ass and her telling us how bad Trump is by telling lies about him and his record and what he said. So, was this anything like the Joe Rogan podcast? Absolutely not. It was nothing like the Joe Rogan podcast. And Shannon Sharp should be ashamed of himself for putting on them tight ass pants. That's it, y'all. I'm out of here. I am out of here. If you like this content, you already know what to do. Like the video, share the video, leave a comment, and definitely subscribe. In the description box will be all of my sneaky links, including Instagram, Twitter, and the Sandraland Discord server. So go ahead and check that out in the description below. Thank you so much, and I will see you either with the next live stream or the next video. Bye!